And we are live. I hear TV or something. No?
You didn't see any, a neighbor that's a house behind me and to the right, one house is having a party, and
Oh.
that's his music is that loud.
And we have Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, I got to. That was telling me the chat was live. I got to turn the. I got to what a new. I switched to fiber today, and the freaking guy. I mean, it's not his fault. He was having trouble making the end on the fiber cable. It just wouldn't strip right. It was, the cable's been hanging on the pole for 3 years or whatever. And I told him, I just cut the end like 2 feet back, okay, and try it, start there. And he did it the first time and it worked. I said, the weather got to it. There's an exposed end.
Oh, by the way, Tactical Fud is here. And Michael Hartnick is here.
Hey, look at our rooms. They
Well, I
meet
was
up.
going to say, Andy stopped by to visit. We're just on each side of the. Yeah. He's going to play a little piano later. All right. So you got fiber optic now.
Yeah, well, it's this speed wise. It was always 500 plus on the download, but it was only like 30, 40 on the upload with regular cable. Now it's 500 upload as well. So I should be uploading much faster to anything I'm uploading to. And then, of course, I don't have a ton of Wi-Fi devices. My doorbell, my Ring camera, whatever the hell, part of my alarm system. I gotta get reset that, and they gotta walk me through it. It's a pain in the ass. I got my phone is done. I got to do her phone and my thermostat.
Broke Loader is here. Hey, Broke Loader.
Hello, Mister Brokeloader. I decided not to wear my robe tonight.
Oh yeah.
But is he wearing anything below the t-shirt?
Well, I appreciate old school Andy, and yeah, that's how we roll.
No, I was just, I'm still dressed because the guy just left. The guy says, I'm going to miss the chat. Uncle Jim will think I'm not coming.
You could have flashed the guy.
No, I wasn't wearing my robe then. He was a really nice guy, smart guy too. It was nice to have somebody who knew what he was doing. He was Jamaican, really nice guy, educated. Okay, I says he sounds. I even said to him, it sounds like you seem to be highly educated to be doing a job like this. He says, well, they pay me pretty good. The work isn't hard except when you got to be outside in the bad weather. So other than that, they pay me, for whatever time it takes me to do the job. So
cool. So, did he have an accent like Yaman?
Yeah, it was. I had a few little. I mean, he was not that bad, but it was a couple of things he said, and I go, sorry, you have to repeat that. And I said, it has nothing to do with you. I'm just not used to the accent. And he says, I understand. But he was pretty cool. He was a nice guy.
Did he smell like he was smoking a spleef or anything?
No, he really very, very clean looking. I mean, no dreads or any of that crap. It was just, a regular guy in appearance. Mm-hmm. Okay. Even in his work clothes, dressed well, and his work clothes weren't dirty or anything like that. It was a really nice guy. And he cared.
Awesome.
Because Fran hates change of anything. So the cable, screen on the TV looks different, the cable menu for picking your channels. And he's having the patience, and he's sitting there trying to show how simple it is. Because there were too many buttons before, and Fran always pressed the wrong buttons, and the freaking thing would switch the screen and look different. And then I'd always have to figure out what she did to it. Now I don't have that. It's just one button. It's like she just has to get used to it.
Awesome. That sounds great.
Broke Loader.
Good to see you, Broke Loader.
My wife says I have an exposed end.
Yeah, I had a little mishap right before we went live. Michael Scribner is here. Good to see you, Michael.
Wow, let me tell you something. The upload speed seems to have made a difference in my, the fuzz around when you move around a picture.
Hmm.
Remember how you get blurred out and stuff? I mean, it's not as bad. It's there,
Yeah.
but it's not as bad.
This background, some backgrounds are better than others, but yeah, I should put a green tarp back here because I like being incognito now.
No, I'm fine with the way it is. That's cool. Good enough. Okay, you know what? It still says live in 10 minutes, so let's see. There's the chat. Let me turn the sound off on that. Okay. So it was an uneventful week. I was looking to go shooting possibly tomorrow. It's supposed to be like 62, 64 degrees, but it's going to be 30 to 40 mile an hour winds, so that's out.
Okay. Broke loader, yeah, Instagram, it cut me off after a minute, maybe because it's called, what do you call it, a loop or whatever they call it over there. I don't know how to use the damn place. So you can watch it on YouTube. It's more descriptive. It is fun. We're going to shoot it tomorrow. Snowed yesterday for some reason. It's been so nice and warm out. But the snow melted, so.
That rifle, that is a nice piece.
Yeah, he made it really light, and all he needs to do is put something on the end of the muzzle to keep it under 5 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, even when it was 5.1 pounds, it's not a big deal. I mean,
Yes.
But
he could have made it even way lighter with the printed lower. It'd be super light. But, he wanted aluminum. Yeah.
No, that looks really nice. I mean, came out really good. I was like, wow, very nice.
We also have some 80s aluminum lowers, that you have to finish and everything.
Yeah.
He was going to do that, and then he thought, nah. So I'm glad he did what he did. It's nice.
It really looks nice. And did you actually shoot it yet?
No, because it snowed.
Oh, okay.
And he just showed it to me. He was waiting on he ordered the lower, and that took a few days to get in the mail and or to the FFL. Yeah. Then the FFL changed. They moved, and I guess he sold it to his son, and his son only does FFLs on Friday. So he had to wait till Friday because for some stupid reason, he only does transfers on Friday.
Okay, well, he got it. That's the main thing. And, and it really came out really nice. I mean, that's really nice.
Broke loader, you can buy, the easiest way is you buy the complete upper, $299, $289. They're always on sale.
$289 to $329, depending on the level of what you want.
Well, the bolt action ones I saw, and plus you can get all kinds of calibers.
Yeah.
So, I think 450, 243. The bolts we have do 350 Legend, 223, and 300 Blackout. But there's many, and the easy way is just get the complete upper. The gas is already shut off. They put a little sleeve on it. But if you get just the upper and the bolt, I think it was $189 plus you get 10% off. They have coupons and stuff. So we had parts. We want to do it different, but the easiest way, you get an M-LOK handguard and everything for under $300. So
yeah,
any caliber you want. I mean, I can't bitch about those guys because they're really providing for people. If you got a Uinta up here in Utah, that thing's expensive and it's not an AR bolt head. So it's more proprietary. So yeah, we're pleased with it. Well, you could get one, bro, Clutter. Slap it on your AR lower. I think it was Bush 450. They have 450, I think. Yeah. I just was on there. Yeah, I don't want any more dies, so I think a 243 would be nice too.
That bolt is going to shoot some nice zinc bullets out of it.
I ordered, this is a wild hair thing. I hope it doesn't bite me in the butt. Lee came out, you know how you have the micrometer cedar?
Yeah.
Well, they came out with a new item. There was only a few in stock, so I hit on them, and it's complete, and it's for rifles. So I got 223 and 300 blackout, and it also has the bullet guide, so it keeps everything concentric, and it's easier to seat the bullet.
Okay.
You know, like Frankfurt Arsenal did a cheaper one, you know, and now Lee has them, and with my discount, it was $20. So I got one of each, you know, 223 and 300 blackout, and I'll see if it works on lead bullets. But it's a micrometer, and it's the complete die, and then it guides the bullet.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I like about the Frankfurt Arsenal. That's why I bought that one when it came out.
Yeah. So now Lee's in the game. This one is silver, and then the other Lee that you just attach, those are blued. But this is a new item. So I thought, hey, what the heck? I didn't have a problem before, but if it's easier, seating it, you know, getting it, if the bullet's a little wobbly, you didn't flare it enough, whatever, shoof. I'm thinking lead bullets.
Yeah. But when the Frankfurt Arsenal came out, I bought one. They were $89, and they're multiple caliber. It's not one caliber.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what was nice about it. So I bought one, and I set it all up, and I liked it. So I said, I'm going to buy another one and set it up for because I have the different turrets on the that I do most of my rifle stuff on the All American 8. And so I bought another one, and that's one set up for 223, one set up for 3006, one set up for 300 blackouts. I have 3 of them.
Well, just so you know, the new Lee ones are out. So they have another kind. Let's see. Patriot Paul is here. Hey, Patriot Paul. So I'll let you know. It might take a week to get them, whatever. For some reason, their shipping was slow. I got it through Midway.
Midway has been slowed down.
Well, the estimated shipping was longer than I thought. Usually I get everything in 3 days from them. But the good news is they dropped their free shipping. It's $49 now.
$49 right now, yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully that's because of gas or whatever. And they keep it $49 because they never liked the $99.
I just think that's like the Easter special.
Yeah. So, hope the new pistol toys are working well. Yeah, we're gonna have to shoot the Suns. My 300 blackout rifle works, the bolt action, and we still got to catch up with other things. You know, it's like stop. Let's catch up before we buy anything else. So. Oh, another thing is, okay, we got pissed off because he only does transfers on Fridays. The new son doing it, he's a super nice guy, but he's not thinking. He's jamming everyone in on Fridays when he can spread it over the week and it's not all busy on a Friday. That's a busy day.
Tin Man fighting.
But anyway, he went down there, did the paperwork, picked it up, brought it home. And the guy's a nice guy and everything, but just because we were a little pissed at that, we looked around. We have an Ace Hardware here that is an FFL, They sell suppressors and guns. They sell Ace Hardware sells suppressors. They have them in stock. And so we asked what the FFL is. They said $50. And like, what? Are you crazy? Anyway,
Don't learn.
Tin Man is here. Hey, Tin Man. But anyway, yeah, we have 2 hardware stores that do guns, but I've never seen suppressors in a hardware store. In stock. Touchy feely. Yeah, so I'm afraid to look at the price. Their defense ammo, when the store opened up, their defense ammo was more money. So I figure their guns are more money too. And their cans. So that's basically the news around here. Oh, I do like that Prism sight he has on there. It has the same reticle, you know, the half circle with the lollipop and reference lines. And that is really nice. 3 power, so it's better than a dot. And the eye relief's good, so that surprised me. I thought I'd have to be way up there, but it's just right for that stock that's on there.
Yeah, I that was one that when I was playing with what the hell to put on the Rossi, that was one that I was looking at, but I decided the power wasn't enough because I don't like red dots that much. Okay, each his own. My eyes don't like them. I prefer the green dot, which I think they have that one in green dot too. But I just looking at the price and I said, nah.
Yeah.
Thor's axe is here.
Hey, Thor's. Luckily my eye works really well with red dots. It's just you don't have magnification, so the target's got to be bigger. But Vanessa Kitty's here. Hey, Vanessa Kitty. Some people, they can't use red dots. It just stars on them. So,
well, yeah. I mean, the one I put on my Dan Wesson, I'm enjoying it. It seems at the distance I hold it and brightness level of the target, I'm able to lower the dot brightness, so the star pretty much is gone. So it kind of works for me. I did try it on the Rossi when I first got it. I put that dot on it, and it ain't working out. So,
yeah. Well, I like dots because they're fast. They're faster than irons. They're faster than scope. It's bang. You're like, if you need to hit something right now, that's a dot. That's why
I was ready to put a laser, try a laser, but I said nah.
Yeah, lasers are a pain, and they can. You also need a good one to have it show up at any distance and bright sunlight. And then, you know, what if the laser's just a little bit off because of the fog or whatever? You know, it's no. Yeah.
Vanessa Kitty is here.
Hey, Vanessa. Yeah, see, she gets the starburst.
Yeah, I get that too, but like I said, it has to do with, I think, the distance away from my eye is, and it's
well, it's also the brightness setting. You got to set the brightness to the outside light. Yeah.
You know, so it's okay. I'm enjoying it on the pistol, but I don't like it on the rifle for whatever reason. I can't answer that. I'm obviously shooting further distance, so that's part of it. And my target is a 1/2-inch black dot, so it's even at 50 yards, you're looking at nothing. You have to have the magnification.
Patriot's getting a new puppy. Call it Patriot Pup. Sheepdog. Yeah, baby. Huh. That's cool.
Yeah. Sheepdog. Cool deal. They're using them. They're training those sheepdogs to chase the geese, the goose, out of the airports and stuff.
And the parks and
the parks.
They should do the parks and golf courses and
I was like watching that. I said, that's pretty cool.
Idaho Rogers is here. Hey, Idaho. Yeah. So, yeah, that's about it. So, yeah, I can't believe it snowed on the 18th. Oh my gosh, that's even late. But it was so warm out, everything was dry, and then boom, I was going to go pick up bullets, and then it rained, and I thought, oh, that's good, and more bullets will show up, and then it snowed, so I couldn't go out there. 2 days, and I can walk out there without any mud. Nice sunny out, so. Yeah, now which kind of sheepdog? Is it the black and white ones like we have around here? We got a lot of herders around here. Or is it smaller? What do they call those? Anyway. Oh, 80 here in Georgia. Is it humid? I wonder if it's humid yet. Yeah, I don't like when it gets too hot either. At least it's dry here. Border collies. Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, they're awesome to watch when they work a herd of sheep. You know, they're really cool. It's weird seeing you in a shirt on a live chat because it's always a robe.
Yeah, well, like I said, I swear to God, it was 10 to 8, and the guy was packing his tools. He was done. Okay, and it's like, I'm just trying to get the computer squared away. I'm like, oh shit, I've chat. Am I going to make it?
Oh, I can't name that movie. Man, I don't know what movie that is. Right when I run out of movies, because I watch like 2 or 3 a night trying to sleep, and I thought I ran out of them, but then new ones pop up, and
Yeah. Well, I catch everything like usually the same day it hits the movie house. It isn't most of the time it's not a great copy, but it's totally watchable. And then 2 weeks later you get a perfect copy if you want. But we watch all that stuff constantly.
Yeah, well, I watch them on the iPad because it's small and I can, lay in bed and try and fall asleep.
I would send you a couple of links, but I don't know if you can handle it because depending on the browser, you might get a ton of pop-ups, which are annoying as hell. You have to have a way if your pop-ups aren't getting blocked. But I can send you sites that you can watch just about anything.
Yeah, I tried a couple and some didn't work. And then I had one that after using that place for a month, it said that there was a virus risk or something.
Yeah, well, what happens is they get hacked all the time.
Yeah.
So, so a lot of times you got to keep going on and checking, and then all of a sudden one day a pop-up will hit you and says, we moved to here. But I don't know if you play with Reddit at all, but on Reddit, You do a search, just streaming, movie streaming, and you'll find all these, conversations going on. This one's down. This one's down. Up. These three are new, and So I mean, I have like 30 or 40 places I can go to.
Uncle John is here.
I mean, what's the new movie? The Working Man. 2 days after it was in the movies, there was a perfect high definition copy online. And you can download them. I mean, well, I can, but I download them constantly and put them on what the hell is this? That's something weird pop. StreamYard Studio MP3. What the hell? It's telling me I have a download available from StreamYard. I don't know.
I don't know about that.
It's a download program, but it says it's an MP3, so that's audio only.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Let's see. Rollis is here. And I know Roger's got one of them bold action uppers. Sorry, Idaho. I wonder what caliber you got. Rollis.
Good evening.
How you doing?
We're all in the same house. We should do that more often. That's funny.
Yeah, exactly. Now, my ass is dragging. I did 3,300 miles this week.
That's all?
Yeah.
Hey, Kip. Kip is here.
Yeah, exactly, Patriot.
You ever get any back problems or kidneys?
Yeah. I should be laying on the floor right now with the TENS unit working my neck right now. But instead, I'm going to sit here and bullshit with some people of like-minded individuals. I'm going to sit around and BS with for a little bit.
Well, you could be sitting there and still use the damn thing on your back while you're sitting there.
Yeah, well, it's in the neck. I need to just lay on the floor for like an hour.
Oh.
Just literally, if I'm laying on the floor, my head can't touch the floor because it just, it's just sitting hunched over all the time. So,
I have to clear off my freaking desk before,
There you go, Vanessa.
To take apart all this junk. Yeah, I have, like I have a TV set right next to me here on the stand with where the cable box was and all that stuff. I had to pull that all out when the guy came here, and I got stuff everywhere.
Yeah, Patriot, we do. They have some pretty sophisticated seats. They also have some that are about as comfortable as a friggin' 5-gallon bucket, but so.
James Pullard is here. Hey, James. Yeah, you'd think they'd have massage seats, heated seats, all kinds of.
Well, I don't know about massage, but depending on the truck and how much you want to spend for it, or your company wants to spend, you can get massage or heated seats and 50 different air. 50 different air bladders in there for adjustments and whatnot. So, like I said, my big problem is just it needs park. The roads are so friggin' rough. You just get your butt beat all the time. And so.
Yeah, the roads are bad in a lot of states. They're bad.
Florida has some, not the highest, but some a little bit higher fuel taxes. But at least they seem to put the money back into the roads. So it costs a little bit. And there's Kyle. And I put a squeaky toy on the air ride seat. Keeps you awake. Yeah, there you go.
Idaho would know. Oh, yeah, you spent some money, Idaho. Bad.
Idaho said he was up in Savannah today, and I just so happened I dropped a dirty tank at the tank wash in Savannah, and then brought it on back down to brought a clean one on down to Jacksonville. That was the new Peterbilt trucks they got in seem to be lighting up the dashboard with warning light. Yeah, Vanessa, every time I friggin' sneeze, a warning light goes off and 3 buzzers. So it just
here. Hey, Kyle.
You ever collect junk and then can't figure out what it was for?
yeah, believe me. They're gonna have me on hoarders. Actually,
Hey, Peterman is here. Hey. Oh.
yeah, Jay Peterman. I hope you get paid layover. Yeah, Vanessa, we have a lot of Kenworths in our fleet, and they're the more desirable trucks, but they just friggin' there's just so much. They're just built so badly nowadays. Instead of them getting cheaper and better, they're getting cheaper, but more expensive and less reliable. The Peterbilt dealership out in Colorado, it's not Aurora, but wherever the town is just north of Denver, they have a gorgeous looking 389 up there, and they're only asking like $150,000 for it. And it's just like I don't want to take the chance of having to deal with being in the shop every other week with my own truck. Plus, Susan says she's going to leave me if I buy another truck.
Don't mind me. I'm putting things away from this cable guy here. Stuff everywhere. He's a pretty nice guy. Got me squared away.
That's good. It's good to see good workers out there.
Yeah, Vanessa, I've been driving automatics for like the last 5 or 6 years, and that's the only reason why my knees are still, I can still walk semi-straight. I did so much driving through New York City and Chicago. I mean, for years, it was just like Chicago to New York back to Chicago. So just constant traffic jams.
So how do the automatics work with the truck? Can you shift?
Well, some of them, like our Volvos and our Max, you press the drive button and you can't do anything else with them, at least the way our trucks are set up. Different trucks will probably have different setup. Our Kenworths, you can control the up and down shifting. Like if you're going 65 miles an hour, you can't drop it 3 gears because the computer just won't let you.
Yeah.
So it's all fly by wire now. So, but at least I can lock it in gear. If I'm coming up to a hill, I can drop a gear and get my RPMs up and get my torque up a little bit. But they have our trucks are cut back so bad. Yeah, literally my JB Hunt trucks back in the 90s were more powerful than what I'm driving now.
Oh, Hobo is here. Hey, hobbies.
Yeah, there you go. But like I said, the automatic and pretty much automatics is they're all going to go to them eventually. just get everything unified.
Oh, geez. Really? Are we going there, Andy?
What?
You changed your background. Everything was so good.
Well, if we're gonna do that, okay.
Let's stick with the house. It's cozy, okay?
Let's
There
do
you
this.
go.
Hold on. Let's do this. Where is it?
When it gets warm out, I'll do a swimming pool,
How about if I do that?
some bikinis. I think Relish would enjoy that, the bikinis, right?
Oh yeah, of course. Me, I'm a creep. I'm the good fun creep, not the guy, not the creep that your wife has to get a restraining order over.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I don't have a clock here no more. The cable box had my clock on it. I got to get a clock for this room.
I would like to find some forest nymph backgrounds, nymphs. I'm certain it wouldn't take that long. I'll tell you what, Idaho. I mean, it's nice when you're going through Atlanta or going through Chicago or whatnot. You just let the truck do. You're an old man. I'm an old man. Let the friggin' truck do the work. You probably got 10 gazillion miles under your belt. You proved yourself a long time ago.
Well, as long as it finds the right gear going up hills, that's, sometimes. Yeah.
Kyle, I haven't used the 12 speed. I have the 10 speed. Yeah, and I am able to lock it in ninth gear for most of the driving I do. When I'm just cruising, I'm cruising in ninth gear just to get the higher RPMs and a little better torque. But I bet you my truck's not pushing over 1,000 foot-pounds of torque on it. Yeah, the trucks I used to run in the 80 or in the 90s, I mean, we're averaging anywhere 15 to 1,800 foot-pounds of torque to the road. And
well, at least James is not bathroom and kitchen. You're just cutting in most of the time. So, Detroit with an 18-speed Fuller.
yeah,
I never drove a 18-wheeler, so I wouldn't know.
when I was doing a lot of air freight in the 90s, the one company I drove for, the one guy, he had all Detroits, and we ran 13, and I don't think we had any actual 18 speed, but mostly just 13 speeds. And we just terrorized that entire Pennsylvania Turnpike. Unfortunately, at the time the speed limit was only 55. We're running 75 and 80. And now that the speed limit's 70 there, I'm driving a truck that does 65.
I drove a really long school bus, and that was a trip. Never drove one before. Got in and started. Hey, I need it over here, and that was a trip. Turning. That thing was long. The full size yellow buses.
Some of those guys guys and men and women who run school buses out in the country, they turn them around, and it's like, how do you do this? How did you do that? It's like if I had to drive a bus, it'd be like my first day of ever driving. And that's anything I'm not licensed for.
Yeah, it was a trip. It was pretty easy though. It was all automatic and everything, and it's just that when you look in the rear view mirror, it's just trippy. And then turning in a parking lot with cars, it was fun though.
Now, Hobbies is asking me what's the most difficult truck to drive. I've never drove like a twin stick or anything like that, so I can't comment on those. I would say, personally, when I was driving for JB Hunt back in 92, 93, we had these god awful 10 straight, what they called straight 10 speeds. You just, you had, and the damn things fought you tooth and nail. You were constantly fighting the damn things to get them in gear. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, it was just driving that cab over. It beat the hell out of you, also. So, like Kyle says, the 13 speeds are really fun. After a while, like I said, your knees just go, and then that's why you see all the old truck drivers my age walking around, jumping around like they don't have any knees, because guess what? We don't have any knees. Yep. Kip. There's every once in a while you would see a twin stick out there, but about the time I started driving truck, they're starting to become pretty rare.
Yeah, I've driven some like dually split shift stuff like that, but nothing that requires a license to be a truck driver.
Right. The Idaho was talking about doing livestock. Now, I've never done livestock, but I've watched them go down the road, and when those cattle decide they're getting a little bit rambunctious, you'll just watch those cattle trailers just rocking back and forth. So,
what gets me is the triple actuating ones that are like going through Idaho when it's windy down in the flats.
mm-hmm.
These things are just doing this.
Yeah, you just
three of them.
the way they say is you just get in, you drive forward, you don't look in your mirrors, you don't watch what you're doing, because it'll freak you out.
Yeah, I've seen some really wacky ones, when we were moving here and stuff. And when the wind picks up and articulate, it's got to be crazy. I mean, what do you do in the snow and ice over the passes? That's nuts.
They just put a bunch of chains on the wheels and just go slow.
Wiggle wagons. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm licensed to pull doubles and triples, but I never have. But I could go out right now and jump in one and pull one.
Yeah, Jerry used to do doubles.
Yeah, and I think he did an articulated triple before too. And that's full of paint. What a mess that would make. I would love to, Kip.
I'm trying to, but it ain't making any noise.
Yeah, I have absolutely no musical ability, so it's not going to happen. Yeah, there you go. I had a 15 speed, and I never figured out how it was actually supposed to be ran. It wasn't set up the way you would think. Like, the low side would be your where you would split, and then you go to the high side and you just run. It was just set up some weird ass way, and I drove it for about 3 months, and then the boss wanted me to take a different truck. I'm like, okay, I won't argue with you.
I don't know how you guys do it. Too many crazy weavers out there on their cell phone, weaving in and out in front of you. I always give truckers full leeway. Just don't mess with them. Don't screw with their momentum.
The I was going through Nashville. Not Nashville. It was Chattanooga yesterday. And I watched a guy. He just defied physics. He went from the far left lane, crossed onto on ramp, went around people. It was on a 4-lane road through construction, and then jumped back over in the far left lane just to get ahead of a couple people. And it's like, in some universe, he's laying upside down burning, but in our universe, he made it. Like I say, he just defied all kind of physics.
Hey, we got 6 here. Hey, what's up, Ricky?
Guys,
Hey, there you go.
We're all in the same comfy house with the mask
but
up.
mine's flipped.
Oh, it's funny.
My piano's on the other side.
No, not to us. To me, it looks the same here. What's funny is, people buy a baby grand and no one plays the piano. No one knows how to play it. It's for show in the corner of a room. Yeah.
Hoping the grandkids will play it one day.
Yeah. My dad had one, same thing. Nobody played it. It's just for show. Mm-hmm. When me and Uncle John were roommates in the Brown house, we had a stand-up piano, one of the bedrooms.
You guys ever play it?
Yeah, I'd play it. Not very good, but I'd play it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but you have a little bit of musical talent, anyways, right?
Just barely, just a little sliver.
Well, I told you about how my friends threatened me if I ever touch another musical instrument. So.
Well, I'm sure I've almost been killed. Yeah.
Let's see. That damn hill in Chattanooga pisses me off. Nobody understands slow trucks right lane and me only in the left lane. Nobody gets the memo. The problem is with that hill, and I actually surprisingly can pull it about 55. I stay out of that far right lane because if you get over there, the way everybody is nowadays, even the other drivers, they won't let you back over and you wind up going up the fucking shoulder. So, sorry, you're going to be stuck behind me for a minute.
Well, what's when you guys sometimes ride side by side and don't pass? You're just
what's happening there, and that happens to me all the time because my truck is governed so low. But you get behind somebody, and then if I can't pass somebody, I back out and I get back behind them. But what happens sometimes, I'll pull over to let people merge out.
Yeah.
Then the pricks won't back out to let me get back over. Then they bitch because I'm locking up the left lane. When I'm doing them the favor to start with. I made a hole for them. Like it's always been bad out here. Everybody talks about, it's not like it ever was. Well, most of the people who say like it used to be or living in a fantasy or it's a one-time thing, it's always been a certain number of just jerks and yahoos. And now the numbers have really increased, but it's always been a certain level of this obnoxious behavior. But it's gotten so bad lately, especially in the last few years where they just hand out you can get a special license where if you only drive an automatic, you can usually get your license in like 2 years. Because basic truck driving is just, once you learn your dimensions and you learn how to go around curves and you learn how to back up a little bit, it's nothing different than driving, a car. You just have to know your spatial limitations. You can't take really tight turns or anything, but you can go and get your CDL in like less than a month now, from the time you start your training to the time you got a job. You can do that in like a month. So
Well, last weekend, wind has been so bad lately. We was coming home from the Fredericksburg with
there
a
you go.
camping trailer. Hey, Kyle.
Hey, welcome home, Kyle.
The wind was pushing me around so bad that my truck kept thinking I was falling asleep or something. It told me I need to stop and take a rest.
It's now. Are you driving just a big ass pickup, like a big dually, or do you
No,
have?
it's the F-150.
Okay.
But I guess it's watching the road, watching you going back and forth, and saying, "Hey, this guy's weaving around. He needs to stop and take a rest." So on your screen, it pops up. You need to stop and rest.
Yeah, or Volvos. Every time you get even close to the white line, a light flashes on the right side of the window.
Yeah, well, I don't have none of that turned on my truck.
Yeah. Well, this is the on of course the semi, and it's just they're on.
But it's just silly that darn trucks paying attention to the road more than you are.
They'll be fully automated. I mean, they already have them. But I thought they would already be fully automated. But probably in the next 10 years, I'll be standing on the corner with a cup, begging for money.
Well, the way the big trucks are nowadays, the technology and everything is already there. It's already in the trucks. They just haven't turned it on because of all the old school truck drivers saying, "I ain't driving this thing if I'm not in charge of where the hell it's going."
Well, that's like with the Kenworth I have now. I'll have the cruise control set, and I'll have it set with about a 3 to 4 second space between me and the vehicle in front of me. Well, if somebody goes up the ramp and the radar reads it, it'll slam on, and I'm going to slam on the friggin' brakes.
Right. A lot of people do not like that. I do not like that. I've been in trucks that they have brought it in for complaints about certain things, the lane avoidance and all that stuff, those systems malfunctioning. And because the camera is a little bit off, it's reading speed limit signs as you're running into a telephone pole.
Right.
So it locks the brakes up and turns the truck to the left.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Our trucks won't go aren't set up to go that far. Having that when you're just cruising, like once you get south of Macon and like on 16, you set your cruise, you kick back, and you
got nothing to do for about 3 hours.
Yeah, so it makes it nice. I haven't put the video up yet because the company asked me to wait till everything the lawsuits and stuff are done. Well, insurance deal. I was hit twice in one day, and the one guy who hit me did damage to the radar unit. So bungee cord the fender, the bumper up, and but because the radar unit was just cockeyed a little bit, when I would pass somebody, you'd think I was going to hit them and start slamming on the brakes. And after it did that 3 or 4 times, it finally the computer would say, "Take over. There's something. There's a malfunction here." So I mean, at least it was. Yeah, I mean it's Idaho's right. Everything's there, but because of that, the computer would shut itself down because it was recognizing that there's something wrong going on there. Yeah, after it locked up the truck 3 different times in less than a minute.
I don't want the truck to have the ability to be able to lock itself down. I'm in charge of it. That's why I don't like automated transmissions. You don't know what gear I want to be in. I can see the road. You cannot move, you know.
That's the difference between our Volvos and Max and the Kenworth. I can control the shifting up and down.
Yeah,
Now,
you
like-
switch it into manual mode and you can tell it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's still automated. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, every now and then you want to reach over in the passenger floorboard and pick up something and knock it out of gear and then have to get it back into gear, you know.
Okay, TNK is here and Fuzzy is here. And TNK, we were talking about trucks. We talk about anything. We're just on a truck thing now. And trailers also, because I was wondering if Ricky's trailer, how that was working out. So
Wait a minute. Fuzz, are you serious? April 19th, 1775 was the shot heard around the world?
Apparently, yes.
Well, it was also the anniversary of Waco, Texas in 93.
Oh,
That's
geez.
right, isn't it?
When the ATF hired the United States Army to use their turrets to puncture holes in the compound and inject tear gas.
Well,
And then all of a sudden the place caught on fire. It's the same day. Isn't that weird?
And of course, everybody has to remember tomorrow's 420. So, A, it's marijuana day, and B, it's Hitler's birthday. So now that we got that,
No, tomorrow's Easter and I'm going to a Braves game.
there you go.
That's the way I look at it.
I'm staying home. Also, I have an ex whose birthday is on 420. So,
And actually, tomorrow I'm putting a pork belly into a big old batch of marinade where I'm going to make my own homemade bacon on Wednesday. Getting the smoker fired up. Going to have a whole turkey, a whole chicken, a pork belly, and anything else I can find to fill up the smoker. And it's meat cooking time.
BJ's have these monster pork chops for they've had them for the last few weeks, and I'm thinking, I'm just so tempted to go buy a new smoker because the one we had it just wore out, rusted up. It was just a cheap one. But I mean, I'm thinking like 4 or 5 racks of just those pork chops in there smoking for about 3 hours, 4 hours at 200, 210, whatever was it, 225 is about where you want to go. And just let them
Just let them sit there and eat. As long as you keep fuel in the box, it'll go.
and
I'll be right back.
yeah, everybody's ripping on those women who went up, like Katy Perry and stuff. I wouldn't kill. I might break a kneecap just to have that same friggin' experience. So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna bad.
Okay, I'm back. I was going to go upstairs for a minute, but they're calling themselves astronauts, and they get offended when they were called writers, but they really didn't go into space. They were right on the border there.
Yeah,
They
they
were free falling. When they were free falling, they had the gravity effect. However, they were not astronauts. They didn't control a darn thing. It was remote controlled
Well,
by N.
and I was listening to somebody discuss that debate, and his opinion was the same as yours. And I have no trouble calling them astronauts because they technically anything above 50 miles is supposed to be outer space.
Yeah,
They,
but
they either went to 60 or 65 miles, so they broke the line without any trouble. Now,
well, okay. To me, my problem is they didn't touch any buttons. They didn't control anything. And astronauts have jobs, real astronauts that I knew.
astronauts.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, be back. So they're getting all in a huffy because people are calling them passengers or whatever. They basically were. They didn't run anything. They didn't. Yeah. So there you go. Anyway,
they paid the money to ride up space. That's all they did.
Well,
if
I
I had
was talking with my wife about it, and I was watching the replay of the landing. I'm like, do you find it odd? First of all, there's no heat shield. Second of all, there's no re-entry burn markings on the white capsule at all. And as soon as it bounced down, the door opens from the inside,
Yep.
which is extremely odd. And then it immediately closes when the dude walks up and says, no, you can't open the door yet. And then Bezos has to come up there, and as soon as he gets the wrench on the nut, the door opens again. And I was like, anybody that believes that they went anywhere other than hiring a B-52 can fly is stupid. They just got cargo jettisoned out of the back of a B-52 or a C-130 or maybe a C-5. We'll give them that. And they just floated back down.
I'm not going to go that far. I have no trouble believing they went up there. I didn't see that, so I didn't even know it happened until somebody else was discussing it, on the astronaut discussion. But I mean, I'm not going to take it away from them. Like I said, if the opportunity ever arose for me to do that, I'd take the 10-minute ride, 20-minute ride, whatever it is.
Especially if they're going to pay me $10 million to do it.
Mm-hmm. Did one of them get paid that, or was that?
I don't know. I heard they had to pay the money. I heard they got paid money. It's all a dog and pony show, man.
Right. Yeah, because I heard that it was a publicity stunt, and they were all given free rides and whatnot. So, get on them. Yeah, it's not like Jeff Bezos doesn't have the money to give them a free ride up there. So.
It just all seemed very, and I was watching it live when it happened because I just gotten off work, and I was like, "Oh, let's look at this." I'm like, "Oh, this is crap." All right, cool.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing they were picking on was the windows. That they said no spacecraft has windows that large
And that many.
and that many. Yeah.
And it didn't burn up coming back in the atmosphere.
Right.
It didn't go that far.
Well, yeah, because they never truly left the atmosphere.
I know they're right on the perimeter line there.
Yeah, well, they went above what they consider going into space, but the atmosphere of the Earth technically expands all the way out to the moon. Now they obviously didn't go that far, but their detectable Earth atmosphere, as far out as the moon. They like I said, they broke the 50-mile line, and they went up. There's, I believe, one of the U-2 pilots actually broke that 50-mile line, and technically, I guess he would be an astronaut, but he was flying a U-2 also. So I mean, he was actually doing stuff, so he'd fall under that.
And they were actually wearing bell-bottom suits with bell bottoms.
And one of them was showing cleavage in their, spacesuit.
I didn't see a single astronaut suit or a safety suit. So
when you're going into space that far up, you're fully suited up.
You're talking about 260,000 feet, which, that's up there. But the SR-71's cruising altitude was almost 90,000 feet, and they were more suited up than those women were.
Yeah, I just think.
Well, I mean, but there's also what's going on there is just like with the sub. What the hell was it called now? But the sub that blew up going down.
Or the Titanic.
Yeah, for the Titanic. If something had broken, if one of those windows had broken, if a seam would have, they'd been sucked out. So I mean, they're sitting there bouncing around, in their spandex and whatnot. Like I said, I've only seen like 10 seconds worth of video of them doing their stuff. But if something, they could have been sucked right out of there.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of astronauts that earned it. They prepared for months and months and years, and then you just have some passengers go up and they're offended they're not called astronauts. I don't get it.
Well,
That's
there's
the
a whole zip code right over there where everybody can go and be offended all they want to, and it doesn't bother me at all. Just stay over there and be offended. That's cool. That's your right. Have fun.
I mean, could they read an instrument gauge? Tell me that. I don't think so.
What's an instrument gauge?
Like on an airplane or anything, altitude, the
I'm
power.
watching that one episode of Mythbusters where the one guy went up on I believe it was the SR-71. He went up on one of them planes to where he broke that, and they had him in training for a couple weeks, full suited up and all that. So
Yeah.
It was Adam, I think. It wasn't Jamie.
yeah, it was Adam because Jamie doesn't like heights.
Yeah, Jamie said nope.
Yeah, just to take a ride. So he had to prepare a little bit. And yeah, so it's just, I don't know. Astronaut, they throw it so loosely nowadays, like other stuff. Anyway.
Well, we're almost at the same
Fuzzy,
time that the Jetsons were supposed to be, right?
Fuzzy. I have that trouble too.
Yeah, the Jetsons, when I was a kid, we thought right now in 2000, even 2010, 2020, we'd be like the Jetsons. We're almost there. We're close.
Yeah, we've got cars that fart. They just don't fly.
Well, they do have cars that fly and drive.
Yeah, they got some now that will.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it. We are sitting. You're in Utah. You're in New York. I'm in Jacksonville. You're in Adairsville, and you're I forget where you're at. 6, and I know you're in Texas. You got 5 guys sitting here broadcasting to the entire planet, real time.
And you can get robotic vacuums, and even mints if you got a lot of money.
Hang on, we all have to act weightless right quick.
Have you ever heard one of the Tesla cars back up?
No.
Well, if you see one in a parking lot and you can see a guy in it and he might be backing out of his parking space, you got to stand there and listen to it. It sounds like the Jetsons.
Huh.
Only when you back up.
Well, what cracks me up every time I use that little Lyman funnel to measure your powder, it looks like the George Jetson mobile, and it cracks me up every time. Yeah, so we're close. We're pretty close. We're not living in space, so to speak, like they did, and not everyone has a car that flies. So,
Well, it depends on how big the ramp is.
Really, the way people are driving right now, do you want cars that fly?
Right now, yeah, they'll be. You won't be in the middle of that traffic down there.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the only people that'll be able to afford it are the ones who are the really obnoxious ones.
yeah.
I had a truck driver ask me, he was running a little bit late for his delivery in Atlanta. And we were at the shop in Kennesaw. He goes, "What's the best way to get to Atlanta right now?" And I said, "Helicopter."
Yeah.
And he just kind of looked at me like a dog that heard a funny noise. And I said, "Dude, you should have left at 4:00 this morning."
Yeah.
But it's only 25 miles. I'm like, yeah, sure is.
Yep.
But you're talking 4:00 on a Friday evening. The best way to get there is by helicopter. You're not going to be there by 6. I promise you.
Yeah. Did they ever figure out what blew on the helicopter in New York with the family in it? Because they thought it was the tranny mounts, but those were good.
There's a lot of iffies in that story. First of all, they took off for the joyride and then had to request an emergency landing because it was low on fuel. Didn't the pilot look at the fuel gauge? So they landed and refueled and all that, took off again. Then what I heard was the rotor blades just fell off of it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the other side. Yep.
But there was something that went terribly wrong between the transmission part. It jolted so bad that it probably snapped everyone's neck in the vehicle.
Well, it's probably when the first rotor blade fell off. It threw everything so far out of, into cattywampus mode that, yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? And they can't blame it on pilot error because the pilot was like a Navy SEAL or something like that.
Yeah, it was just either
Retired helicopter pilot.
Yeah, it could have just been a bad part the whole time, and it was just a matter of time or fatigue, But it was still, it didn't have that many miles to be all ready for the scrapper. I don't know.
Yeah, well, the company, like Uncle John said, the company was shut down like 2 days later.
Yeah,
I've seen some crazy failures on helicopters where they came back down. I wouldn't say safely, but luckily they came back down and were back on the ground. And I would have never thought that could have happened. I've watched them auto rotate back down because that's the only energy you have.
As long as the propellers are there. Yeah. A lot of people survived that way.
So something crazy happened. I mean, it
was catastrophic. Something blew. They'll find out in a few days. They got all the parts.
That depends on what they want to tell us.
Right.
Yeah, but they probably shut the company down because it's protocol. We got to stop and inspect all your stuff.
Yeah, just because they shut the company down doesn't mean. Yeah.
Yeah, they just want to make sure everything's okay on the other.
Yeah, they did the same thing at a Grand Canyon touring company that flew out of Vegas when I lived out there. They had one go down because it was a sandstorm. I think one person out of the 6 did pass away, and it took them like 3 or 4 days to find. I think it was a 4-year-old that just walked away from the crash and was just out walking in the desert.
No,
They finally found him, but they shut the company down and inspected every single thing that had that company logo on it, all the way down to a torque wrench.
Yeah, and that helicopter is a very reliable helicopter that crashed. So
yeah,
they can't. It's not like,
I've been a pilot. I have not renewed my license or anything like that, and I was on track for getting my helicopter certifications, and all I had to do was solo, and I just got out of it. And the restrictions and regulations and all that stuff on all of that equipment are just insane. You can work on your own plane, you can work on your own helicopter, but then you still have to pay the on-site mechanic to come over and inspect everything, and he's got to do his part and this, that, and the other. Yeah, you might save $20 by doing it yourself, but you still got to pay him $2,000 to sign off on it.
Oh, hell.
you guys probably don't know this, but I got several hours as a helicopter pilot in the air on the Xbox. Oh. But yeah, I can fly a helicopter with my thumbs.
The company I worked for back in, I'm trying to think of the year, 79, 80, we were building flight simulators for the F-14s. And those were fun. I got to fly in those all the time. I crashed most of the time.
William Ganley's talking about the Jesus nut. I've heard about it. I don't know if it's an actual thing or not, but yeah,
we used to call them Jesus clips because you're trying to put them back on and it flies off and you go, Jesus.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what he's talking about. Hey, William, how you doing?
Kyle could probably explain it better than me because I've just heard people. I'm repeating what I've heard other people repeat, but apparently there's one nut bolt assembly And if that one item snaps, breaks, comes loose, whatever, fails, yeah, the blades come off, the helicopter just becomes a rock.
The blades are affixed to a head, which the blades can rotate. You know, they can pitch and all that, a cyclic. And in some cases, like military applications, the blades can fold up to make them more compact. But the cyclic head is held on by it's mounted on a shaft, and I think if I recall, on a Blackhawk, the nut torque on that thing is like 3,200 foot-pounds. It is something ginormous. But if that ever does come off, well, I mean, the whole head will separate just from the lift and everything that it creates. It'll separate, even though it's pressed on to begin with. The nut's just there for safety. But it can separate. And when that happens, you got nothing. You're at the mercy of gravity at that point.
You learn that gravity sucks real quick.
Yep. Yeah, gravity works. Just ask your mother.
Yeah.
My dad told me that when I was a kid, and I never understood that reference until I got older.
You got a little older, huh?
Flight engineer.
No, John, Uncle John, I used to be a pilot. That was back in my younger years. I was flying airplanes before I could drive.
Well, hobbies, flying in the Arctic. Ooh, danger, Will Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of Cessnas that go out in Alaska and never come back.
Well, Cessnas aren't really designed for that type of terrain. I guess you could call the airspace terrain.
Well, they need something small that they can land anywhere, and with skis and stuff.
You need little puddle jumpers that can take off in 12 feet. That's what you need.
Yeah, they don't have a high percentage survival rate in Alaska.
Those crop duster planes, they're all real square looking. You're thinking, how the hell does that stay up in the air? And you realize that's why it's able to stay up in the air. It is just just all that space for the air to hold it up in place.
Yeah, you can make a brick fly if you angle it the right way.
Yeah. So I think those are even neater than the jets.
Well, it's like the C5s, like around Dobbins Air Force Base, and the C-17s and stuff like that. The planes are so big, it looks like they're not even moving, but they're still in the air.
Mm-hmm. For a few years, I worked. Our terminal was just across the road from the Ohio National Guard. It wasn't Wright-Patterson. This was in Columbus. I think it was called Rickenbacker Field. But the big, I guess they were C-130, the fuelers that had the doohickey that hung off the back, and you just watch them take off. And they're just moving so slow at first, and you just how does that thing stay in the air? It's just force.
Yeah, it looks like they're going like 3 knots, which is barely fast walking speed. I mean, they're just not moving.
Yeah, just like,
making a lot of noise, just not going anywhere.
Then all of a sudden they're gone.
But you can haul 5 M1 Abrams tanks and a whole platoon of people on them, so they can get it done.
Yes, the hobby is 870 and a survival kit. So
I got to fly once in the Scouts. Pilot would take us up one at a time because you're sitting behind him. You got your own stick, And then once you got up where it's nice and safe, he's like, okay, I'm going to let go. And this is what you do. And he gave us like 5 seconds to fly. But it was fun. It was fun.
I never, I mean, I've flown like 3 times. And 2 of them, I was like a little kid, came down here to Florida to visit family and then flew back. I was like maybe 5 years old. And then, and a few years ago came down, I was in Ohio, and the company that hired me was actually down here in Winter Haven, Florida. So they bought me an airplane ticket and fly down. So those are the only times I've actually flown. I'm not scared to fly or whatever. It just haven't done it that much.
Tin Man is here. Come join the living room, Tin Man.
Pull you up a chair and sit down by it.
So, Ricky, that trailer's pretty cushy. Do you get good internet when you're all over the place?
Kind of. I mean, most of these trailer parks now have, Wi-Fi all through it. Yeah, they got little antennas all through them now.
Nice.
Depends on how much people are drawing off of it, though, just like anything else.
Yeah.
I need to
Good.
invest in my own router so I can, when I pull it in, it'll amplify it.
Yeah. That's good. I like that it has a big shower and everything instead of a closet
Yep.
that you can't even move around in, So that one's got a nice big one.
We still got some things we need to fix on it, but other than that, it's all right.
Well, I mean, what's the fun in having a toy if you don't have to work on it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I used to haul one around for work, and it was pretty big. And yeah, when the wind whips up, it can get you going over the passes and stuff. But we used it mainly for showering and stuff in when we're out at jobs.
Well, there's little things that you need to do, like the shower head is too high for her. Well, Penny, she wants to move it down, so she's got a list going on Amazon of stuff to do that kind of stuff.
Well, can't you hook a handheld on it?
It is a handheld, but where it sits in there, it's too high. And
Gotcha.
Over her head.
Yeah. Yeah, you need like an adapter that lowers it or something.
Yeah, they make other ones that you can place them other places. Just odd in things.
Yeah, we should all lay on couches in our robes. That would be funny.
I noticed one of the brackets on the skirts on the outside screws broke on it. I got to fix that already.
Mm.
We went and bought before we left the other day. I had like a half a gallon of milk in the refrigerator. I just grabbed it to take with us. I couldn't get it in there. The shelves are all too close together.
Oh, gotcha.
And the only way to move the shelf is I had to take the door off because the door won't open up wide enough to slide it out.
My in-laws are big on camping and what. Matter of fact, they just came back this evening from a trip. They have a pretty nice setup, but it's a little cramped for somebody my size.
Yeah, you got to get it to where you're comfortable. I mean, I see people hauling them big fifth wheels. It's like, okay, but you really need that much room? It's just 2 people.
Yeah, where the sides come out and everything, And
Well, pulling a 40-foot trailer, then you got 4 or 5 slide outs on it.
Yeah.
Well, my in-laws, theirs isn't that big, but they also take all their grandkids with them.
Yeah.
Sometimes. So, but I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a nice setup and all that. I mean, if I ever get to retire, maybe Susie and I will get one and do some touring and stuff.
Well, we've pretty much had one all of our married life. You know, this last stretch that we didn't have one was the longest stretch we didn't have one.
Fuzzy, I'm not sure there's a Bigfoot. There's too many cell phones out there. No one's got good footage.
Yeah, I hate to be a negative Nancy, but I fall in the same category.
Yeah.
I wish there was, but
With all the hunters out there. However, they're better at the terrain and being stealthy. However, I don't think there's any Bigfoots. I used to,
But
Get
what
in.
about all the trail cams that are out there?
Yeah. Trail
Yeah.
cams. Well, the excuse is they have a way of screwing all that stuff up.
yeah, they magically disappear as soon as they yeah.
Yeah,
And
they
they-
have magic powers where the cameras go out, and if someone takes a picture, it didn't work, and
They slip into a different dimension.
yeah, all these things. So same with the wolf beasts, whatever the wolfman beasts, whatever they call them.
Werewolf?
Well, no, they have a dog's head or a wolf's head on a man's body. I forget what they call those things too.
Yeah, there's. I mean, I'm a big Coast to Coast fan also, so I've heard all the In Search of different wild ass stuff.
Chupacabra. Chupacabra.
You got your cobras, you got your wolfman, you have your stick man, your shadow people, your
Well, there is cobras out there. There is. They got pictures. They have some were captured, but it's just some kind of weird. Yeah. No, the dog thing is real, and there's good pictures of those, and it's just some kind of weird bred type deal. But Bigfoot, yeah, what do they call him? Wolfman. What do they call him? Anyway, no.
Calabos.
Yeah, there's supposed to be some up in northeast Utah, but that ranch, but I don't think so.
Well, we got big-footed grizzly frogs and rattle-headed copper moccasins around here.
It's that time again.
Andy, did you changed into your robe while we were while you were gone? Okay.
I was always in my robe. I just had a picture of me with a shirt on.
Yeah, no, you didn't.
So everybody have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, Andy.
Good to see you, buddy.
Take care, Andy, and I'll do a video on those those new cedar thingies when they come in. For you guys that don't know, they came out with a new micro cedar for rifle cartridges.
Yeah.
Cartridge specific. They're new. They're not like the other ones. So it's the whole die, and they're like it was $20 on sale. So I figured I'd try one at 223 and 300 blackout. And the beauty of it is it has the stem that you just put the bullet on, and it automatically sets it concentric before it seats it, type deal.
Okay, separate is a complete separate die then.
Yeah, it's a new item. It was on Midway, and I'll give it a try. I don't know. It was an impulse buy, but I figured, hey, that could be easy for some lead bullets that are a little wobbly when they go up, and hey, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe.
real quick, I talking about impulse buys, just to let everybody know. PSA has the Magnum Research BFR
I saw that revolver. Yeah.
Yeah, and 44 Magnum, and it's on sale up. Yeah, the sale ends at midnight tonight, but it's like $900,
Yeah.
and you can if you have Sizzle, which if you got a heartbeat, the Sizzle will approve you. You can break it down into payments of $225 for every 2 weeks. If somebody's been looking for a 44, the only reason I haven't jumped on it is I got a couple other things. Yeah, I want to get paid off before I run any more debt.
Yeah, and those revolvers are usually a lot more money than that. And they also
$1,500.
and they're pretty stout. They also had 686s in both 4 and 6 inches on sale, which is realistic price nowadays. You know, realistic. It's down to realistic. Yeah, PSA has some good deals all the time.
Oh yeah. Every once in a while
They have some 200, 150 to $200 guns that are really nice, CZ clones, and all kinds of stuff pops up. So yeah, I let them spam my email, even though I'm not supposed to spend. But I had to get my son a birthday present, and Midway was doing $49 free shipping. And so I went over there, and then I got in trouble, saw these stem things, and needed a buffer tube. And then it started getting, then I got a manual, and it went crazy.
They didn't have free shipping when I ordered something the other day.
Yeah, they have $49 free shipping now instead of $99. And for some reason, they had my birthday price on there still because they screwed up. And now I know how they screwed up, but they never gave me a birthday discount. And I go on there, and boom, it's still there. It's way past, and it was still there. So what's a guy gonna do? I saved $25 and got free shipping. So what's the guy gonna do? But it was all a birthday present.
Yeah, I got parts for one of my single sixes coming, and some Hornady FTX 358 200 grainers coming. They didn't have no free shipping, and I spent $100.
Yeah, well, you gotta wait. They do it every couple of weeks, but this time they went back down to $49, which is good. I don't know if that's because of gas prices coming down or what. That's the first.
It cost me $12 or something like that to ship it.
Yeah,
And they don't get in a hurry anymore like they used to.
yeah. I'll see how long this takes because the estimated shipping was longer, but it was free. But like I said before on here, I get stuff from them in 3 days. Free shipping, I always do free shipping. But it depends where you live. Tin Man, it takes a month. So we'll see.
Vanessa, I think all the Walmarts got rid of the 24-hour. During
I
COVID.
think so too.
Yeah,
I can't find any down here, at least in Jacksonville area.
yeah.
I went into Walmart yesterday morning. First time I've been in one in probably a year. Just don't never go into them.
I go to the clearance section first.
I haven't been in a Walmart in over 20 years.
Yeah, well, we have very little choices around here. If you want to go to a big store, you got to go to Walmart.
It's been a while since I've been to a Walmart, but Susan was at a Walmart about 4 hours ago. So every week they get some of my money. Fine with me. They're all scumbags. We'll get the cheapest scumbag there is. And just to be honest, I was making money from Walmart. I had never even heard of Walmart till I started driving truck and driving for JB Hunt. Well, half the deliveries I made were to Walmart's or Walmart distribution centers, So, like I said, I was making money off of Walmart before I even really knew who or what they were.
I remember when Walmart came to my hometown. Me and my dad, I was young. We were riding around going to school, or he's taking me to school or something. And he goes, Walmart? That's a big ass damn store for a bunch of wallpaper and siding.
Hey, I missed the Kmart's when I was younger. They sold guns and ammo. Anyway, William Gainley, I'll answer your question. Yes. And it's a great little mold. It's a little flat nose, a little round flat, and it's a great mold. And yeah, so and it's a good bang for the buck.
What
So,
does
yeah.
MAK stand for?
Makarov.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, that's not.
I've only
They've
tried
got two different ones. Yeah.
but yeah, it's a good little mold. I can grab a bullet. Maybe I got one loaded. I think I shot him up though.
Well, I'm sure it's only 5 seconds away.
Don't have any fear. Just yeah, get it. Wait for it to be on sale. As a matter of fact, I think Cranky let me borrow that mold.
Is that the cranky mold?
No, Cranky's mold is different. Oh, I got to catch up now. Cranky's is an Arsenal or the other one, Hollow Point. And then I got the SST.
Cranky sent me some bullets, and I love those little things.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you want an inexpensive mold, the Lee is a good one.
Okay, that's a real round. It's almost like a ball.
Yeah.
No, I thought the one he's talking about, the 95, is a flat nose.
No,
Round.
it's a. I don't know if this will pick it up or not.
All right. Well, get the flat nose one.
Yeah, that's the full radius, man.
No. Get the well, there you have another 95.
Right, that's the one I have. Is the other one?
Yeah, get the flat nose one. Oh man, hard to. Why is everyone talking about DB Cooper now?
Because they want to get you fired up.
Cooper.
Do I trim a 380 in the prep station? I can, because 380s are kind of wacky. They're all the brass is everywhere, depending on the brand. I might have trimmed some just for accuracy tests, but I have the trimmer for it. And I have a bulge buster now. So if you get some weird range brass, you can bulge bust them one time and you're done. This 380 is part of the bulge buster kit.
Ever since my wife got a 380, I've been enjoying loading it. I'm still not done with the bullets that Cranky sent me, but
yeah,
I'm having fun with it.
I know. I thought I'd never be a 380 guy ever and ever again until the Ruger Max came out. That little Ruger Max started it all. Now we got 4 of them. Maybe
yeah, you've seen me throw 380 brass over my shoulder in the basement.
Yeah, we have 5. No, we have 6. 5 or 6 380s.
Yeah, the other one is the 356 95 RF.
Yeah, let me see if I can grab it. But make sure to get the one with the little flat nose on it. That's a good
RF.
Yeah.
The TL 356 95 RF.
Round flat. Okay. There you go.
You hear my frogs, Jim?
Yeah, they're back.
The big boys came back.
Just before I came in here, I just finished gas checking a bunch of my 357s.
For the Max.
Yep.
I got to get me a 357, but I don't know if I want a revolver or a lever gun first.
That's a tough call because I love them both.
Yeah, me too. I just don't know where I want to spend my money.
Well, you can
Yeah,
always
it's
pack
a
a
little
revolver.
You can
Uh-huh.
hunt.
You can always pack a revolver under your armpit there if you need
Yeah.
to.
And then you can always hunt longer range with the lever, so and heavier bullets.
I mean, either way, I'm going to end up having both of them.
Right.
I've already got 38 special revolvers, so I figure if I get a lever gun, I can shoot 357 or 38 out of it, which I can also shoot 38 or 357 out of a revolver. But I've already got revolvers, but I don't have a revolver in 357.
I want to
Now
get
that surprises me.
I want to get a GP 100 with an N357.
Yeah, I
I
like.
like the SP 101, the little 5-shot doodad.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
a
but
nice pistol.
for all that.
Either a 4 or 6-inch barrel.
Yeah, it's a nice little 5-shot, but it's heavy for a 5-shot. You really don't need a 357 and a snub. You're not burning the powder.
No. Might as
Well, but it
say-
totally fits your MO, Jim, because you only shoot 5 rounds at a time.
No, I got lots of miles under my belt with revolvers. That's what I used to do back in the day, all the
Yeah,
time.
you weren't joking about the Smith and Wessons being on sale. Those
Yeah,
are nice.
there's a lock on them. Yeah. Still, they'll have a lock on them. They'll have MIM parts. The Smiths, so it's not like the old Smiths like I have, but still, that's a good deal.
Well, now I've never had any trouble with the NIM parts on my Smith revolvers, the ones that I currently only have one. It's a classic, but the lock would lock the gun up. So I took that out, and now guess what? The lock doesn't lock the gun up anymore.
Yeah.
Got this big ass hole in there, but yeah.
Yeah, I never trusted the lock. My little Ruger snub has a lock underneath, but that never has been an issue in anybody's guns.
Yeah.
The lock was more of a problem with the J-frame snubs.
Well, and my J-frame would lock up once in a while too. But I didn't take the lock out of that one yet. So that's been 20 years now. But yeah, I foresee probably in the next 10 years those locks are going to be going away completely because they're already coming out with a lockless line.
Yeah, they offered the lockless line because they know people totally boycotted them. They lost a lot of money, but they're trying to cater to all these other states that need the lock. Want to do one thing for all. And
personally,
that's bad.
I think Taurus had the best system as far as those go. It was just a spring-loaded lock that you put an Allen key in and pop it out just a little bit, and you can pull the hammer back. And from what I understand, Taurus even offered Smith and Wesson the rights to it, and they turned it down.
Yeah.
So,
and it's less hideous. But anyway, whatever.
but they're finally going to be. I mean, we'll probably see the end of the lock. Yeah.
I think they're doing a Model 15. They have 3 that don't have locks.
I think there's a 686 and a Model 19.
19. Yeah.
Yeah, the 19 or the model
10 maybe.
586 or it. So they're like you said, three models, and so
yeah.
And then it's just but yeah, like I said, that's some nice looking prices there.
Yeah, and Rossi has one. I never thought I'd say this, but Rossi has one I really like and want. Is their 3-inch stainless? What do they call it? The 65 something. I don't know. Anyway, it's got good guts that are like similar to a Smith and Wesson, the shorter action and everything.
Right.
It's a 3-inch, and I can't find me a Model 13 for my life anymore. So I figured, hey, I could do a Rossi.
Well, and Rossi's owned by Taurus now, from what I understand. Anyways.
Yeah. But
But,
it's different design, different guts, different action.
Yeah.
And the Rossi action's better. It's shorter, it's better, it's more like the Smith. And that's why I'd get one if it's $300, $325, $350. Just because I always wanted a 3-inch and a Model 13 round butt FBI gun. I always wanted one. 3 of them got away from me, and it should have never happened. And the last one was in Utah at the pawn shop, and I wasn't a resident. And it was mint, and it was cheap, and I should have just had it transferred to Washington when I still lived there. And I didn't. Kicking my ass right now because I got to feel it, hold it. It was tight. It was in great shape, and it was my dream little snug. Anyway, 357.
Angel just came up with a fantastic idea for our living room.
What's that?
She said there's plenty of room for a stripper pole.
There you go.
Gunslinger.
Question is, how do you look at a G-string?
Gunswatter is here. Hey, Gunswatter.
The Hillary hole. Well, that's a whole different dimension.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, since she's probably never had any dick in it, it's probably pretty small.
Yeah, but Ricky, the GP100 is a nice, stout, strong-ass little 357. 4-inch is my favorite size. Preacher has one. He brought it here.
Yeah, that's probably the 4-inch is what I get.
Yeah, we had what impressed us was we had range rentals, and I've told this story a million times. We had the blue one, 4-inch, 357, and everyone, when they rented the gun, wanted to shoot 357 because that's, they wanted to feel it and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it got a healthy diet at 357 for I think it was on, and guns don't last that long on the rental shelf. It was there for about 8 or 10 years. The barrel got shot out. It was shot so much. So we sent it to Ruger. They put a new barrel on it and didn't have to do anything to the action or timing. That is impressive as hell.
Yeah.
Okay. Because Smiths, I've had to take care of end shake and all that stuff. 686s. All that stuff. I've had several, and I've had to take care of timing and shake, the bolt, the stop, refit one of those. But that freaking Ruger, it was amazing, and everyone was.
I want a double action is what I'd like to have that way.
Yeah, just pull the trigger. And then put don't mess with the hammer spring. Just put the trigger return spring in it, a lighter one, and it'll make it so much better.
I know this is going to be heresy, but the couple old hammer-mounted firing pin 686s I had, they were okay. The best 686 I had the new hammer transfer bar system is the most accurate one of the 686s I had. I thought it shot really well. I did have a spring kit put in it just for shits and giggles, but that was the most accurate and quickest one I had even before I did the spring kit. They're
going to vary between how the cylinders align with the barrel and all that stuff. Gap, all that. Every revolver is going to have a different. You can get a that doesn't shoot. You can get a tack driver that looks like hell. It depends. Yeah. But a lot of it is your cylinder alignment, your gap, the barrel itself. I mean, how was the barrel rifled? You know, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is it built
And-
on Friday or Wednesday? Yeah, you know. Yeah.
And the new style cylinder release, they went to that slimmer line to make it easier to use the speed loaders, and it worked. I mean, it worked well that way. You know, my classic has the old school style, and that thumb release does get in the way a little bit for your speed loaders.
Usually for me, it would be the grip that gets in the way if the grip isn't for a speed loader. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I never had a problem with the releases. I don't have a modern release. So,
I mean, it's nothing horrible.
Mhm.
It just, yeah, you get a little less something to get in the way of doing what you're trying to do when you're using the speed loaders. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, revolvers are a different animal altogether. But yeah, some are going to shoot really good, some aren't. Some of the sights are going to be off. Blah blah blah. It's just, you know, nature of the beast. Who made it? You know, how was it made at the time?
Yep. Well, like I've got that early model Taurus that was my dad's. You can tell it's definitely not of high quality.
Oh, I bet it was had the old wood grips and logo on them too.
Probably
What did they call those?
the barrel was split on it, and I had to replace the barrel.
oh damn.
Wow.
You can tell it's soft material.
Yeah, it must have been really early.
Yeah, it's from the 70s.
Now look at this box.
I want to say early 70s.
And that's why you pay for shipping. Oh my gosh. Doesn't that drive you nuts? Like you order from PSA and you get a huge box and it's only got that in it.
And that's exactly where it came from, PSA.
There you go. And then you wonder why the shipping costs so much. Are you kidding me?
No, that's just part of it.
That is a soft envelope, if anything.
I thought it would come in just like a big, like you said, soft envelope. I put the same muzzle brake on the 22 arc on the, and I went ahead and got this one for. I'm going to try it on the Howa, see if it fits, but the Howa barrel is really thin, so it might not have enough meat there to actually screw on. But it's probably going to go on the my Bushmaster, the one that I just put the video up about the forend. Because this brake, when I'm shooting the 22 arc, I can watch bullet strikes as long as I do my part. You know, it cancels the recoil, which the 22 arc doesn't have that much recoil anyways, but it just helps it. So, but yeah, that's tomorrow's project.
We order stuff from MSC, and I've literally ordered 2 taps because the only people that had them in stock, some oddball tap.
Uh-huh.
I mean, literally, they're not big as your finger. They come in a 12 by 12 box.
Yeah, you would think companies would worry about shipping. And I mentioned PSA because I've seen it a million times. Huge box, little package.
Mm-hmm.
What makes me mad is when you open them up and you see those big pillars of air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, if I'd have just thought about it, packaging air and selling it. Because that's all you're doing. You're packaging air and selling it.
Like I said, here's the real pisser. I've ordered parts from Dylan. where literally the stamp that they would put on the envelope weighs more than the part, but they still charge you $16 for the shipping.
Why? Yeah.
Now that's why old man Dylan flies. Well, he's gone now, but that's why they have helicopters and airplanes and
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that is just totally nuts. If they streamlined it, they could put the cost on the company. The customer is a lot cheaper if they would just not put them in huge boxes. I don't get it. Maybe they get a huge discount, UPS, whatever, but
the
ridiculous.
now I made an order from Supervel, the ammunition. I clicked on that handguard video and it said private video, then disappeared from the feed. Ooh. Okay, maybe I'm doing constructions, or not construction, but I'm putting it together, so maybe they pulled it. So, let me jump over here and see. But I ordered from Supervel, ordered some ammunition. I just want to test and do a video on, and the shipping was like $18. So for 2 boxes of ammo, which would easily fit a $16 flat rate box.
Wow. I hate paying shipping. I hate paying shipping, and there's a lot of things I don't buy because they charge too much.
Well, I'm not so much upset about paying shipping. That's how I make my money. And I'm certain these companies pay a ton of money for the stuff we haul. But it's like I said, Dylan charges you $16 for shipping when the product weighs less than a stamp would cost.
Yep.
That's where I get it's a prick job. Excuse me. So let me do this real quick and see what's going on with that video. Excuse me. The salad I had for dinner tonight is starting to come back up.
I know. I got throat burn. Yeah. Pizza. Warsaw Patriot is here. The instigator. I tell you what, Patriot Paul, if you go look at what they're doing to the schools where I left, I'm a runner. Go to Washington, look up, maybe I'll find the bill number for you, what they passed. The boys can go in the girls' showers now, young girls' showers. You don't have to tell your parents if this happened at school. You're not allowed to. No, you should see the whole bill. They passed it. I sent it
Private school.
Like, what the hell is going on? Anyway.
Hobbies, I'm looking at it and it shows being visible. The visibility is being public. So unless there's some kind of Canadian thing going on, I don't think there's anything. It hasn't been pulled or anything. So I wouldn't be surprised if it does get pulled because I am doing all kinds of modifications to the gun. But yeah, if Susan gets knocked up, if we have to, live in cardboard boxes and eat ramen noodles and pick up cans on the side of the road, the kid going to Catholic school. I'm going to find an old school type Catholic school. Yeah, just
don't make me put you on my one-sided view block list. Hey, block me all you want. You're wrong. You're still wrong. All right.
so that's Yeah, but yeah, that's bullshit. They're having, yeah. Because when I was a teenage boy, I would have loved to have been able to.
Oh, and we're talking grade school also.
Mhm.
So, all right, and that's not all. That is things that the parents don't need to know. All this is in the bill.
Right.
It's crazy town. It's cuckoo land.
Yep.
And Trump just defunded them. So no more funding. And that's part of the reason. And they need that income. They're going to be hurting. All they're going to do is throw it on the people or property tax and all that stuff. People that don't even have kids in school, they're going to tax.
Yep.
That's what they've been doing forever and ever. Mrs. Tin Man is here. How you doing? Patriot Poll wants on. No, I'm not going there tonight. No. You can look up, what is it? HB. What's the bill? HB 1296. They passed it.
Thank you, Hobby.
People didn't get to vote on it. People didn't get to vote on it. They passed it. I'm waiting.
Okay, well, that's the thing, though. That's when you have a representative republic, we vote for the people we're hiring to do the job. Then they're the ones who. So that's one of the down. If everybody gets together, we don't want the assault weapons ban, but it got passed by both Republicans and Democrats. So, ironically, the congressman from my voting district in Ohio, when all that went down, was the guy was the congressman who put it up over the top. Yeah, and he had been an NRA A plus whatever. Yeah, but it was his last year. He was going to retire, and he just basically did that to all the all the people. Fuckers named Applegate.
I sent a copy of that bill to Tin Man and said, "What if these were your daughters?" And he said, "I'd pull them right now."
Catholic school.
Private school, but go to a private school. But anyway, my wife and I are thinking someone from Eastern Washington, because they're conservative, is going to go rogue. They're going to go crazy. You're going to have a major. There's going to be a problem. Okay, they're going to.
I would not be surprised if Alberta goes independent. Whether or not they join the United States, I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if they go independent from Canada. And like you said, both Washington and Oregon, it's like there's a divider line somewhere in each one of those states, and you got two separate. Yeah. And the sad thing is, the conservative side is out there in the desert, and the really beautiful part of both those states that I love is the liberal screaming, scumbag.
Cranky is here. Did I mention Cranky was? I'm sure I did. That wasn't funny, Cranky. She's working on sourdough, and there's a lot of tweaking with sourdough and doing your own cultures, and that's all my mom would talk about was her precious cultures in the refrigerator and all this stuff about sourdough. And now I get it because it was.
I'm going to go hit the head real quick. Bring Patriot Paul on.
I don't want the drama tonight. If we start talking about me being a runner, I'm going to strangle his ass. He's a young kid. He didn't know. He didn't know any better. Has he paid house taxes, property taxes, everything taxes in a liberal state? No. Anyway. Taxes are pretty good in Texas, aren't they?
Do what?
Taxes.
Oh, they ain't that great.
I I thought you had no taxes on something. What was it? Property? Is it sales? Something.
We got no income tax.
Okay.
We have a state sales tax, plus your local state taxes or local sales taxes. Hey, knock it off.
Someone at the door? Best watchdogs ever, or best alarms ever.
She probably just dreaming.
Oh, speaking of which, okay, you guys know I've always been ragging on Instagram and TikTok, and I'm ragging on it, and no one has attention spans anymore. Okay, I get it, because I was watching Reels the other night when I couldn't sleep, and I'm watching all these funny Reels. They're only like 2 minutes, right? Hilarious, and I get it. I get that part of it. I get that. So I can't.
It's what you watch.
Yeah. And I was like, damn, I'd have so much fun doing that because you just do a quickie goofball spiel and it's hilarious. And a lot of people were doing it with their dogs and stuff. It was hilarious.
I like watching the animal videos. And then, like I say, I watch a lot of car stuff, either drag racing or car show type stuff. So as long as I keep watching those, that's what they keep feeding you.
Yeah, well, what I started clicking on was really funny stuff and unique. People, hey, that was awesome. Why didn't I think of that? There's a lot of really good, funny little clips, and some had to do with dogs, and they even had farting. The dogs laying on you and you fart and they freak out. Just all the weirdest stuff. And now I get it. Okay, that's what these short little things are for. As long as you don't put your makeup on and stand in front of the phone and tell me how miserable life is,
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Right.
I zip past those when they pop up.
Yeah. So I finally got it. I was watching for like 2 hours last night and I was like, okay, there's a lot of brilliant people here. A lot of brilliant people. So as far as comedy,
they're nothing. All they do is they sit and make skits up and produce them, and then post them up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I could so goofball on this, but a lot of people are way better than I am. So they're really good. Yeah. So I get it. I'm not going to badmouth. I don't know about TikTok. I've never been there, but as far as joining, Chinese are all in that. Now, if the U.S. buys TikTok, okay, maybe yeah. So anyway, I have to confess, I'm wrong. I was wrong. I admit it. There's some good things on there. Getting around this,
it's all about the algorithm and what you're watching.
Yeah.
If you stop and pause on the little blue-haired lady, well, that's all you're going to get.
That was just one video, Tin Man. I was just scrolling. They're all in a row. But some of them are hilarious. The pranks on your wife, all that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, totally hilarious. So I like it for the comedy stuff. Anyway, all right. That's my confession for the night. I was wrong. I admit it. I'll never badmouth again. Kind of, maybe.
Dog farts and hairy women.
Anyway, yeah, I'm sure West Covina Dodge would like parrot videos. Didn't see any.
I've seen a few of those.
Yeah, there's some guys who in 1 minute can pop out a really great gun video, and I think one guy's like named Armin Hammer or he's a Canadian guy, and he does all these little 1 minute shorts, and
Mhm.
hell, you learn more in his 1 minute shorts than you do watching a 20-minute video by some people.
Yeah, and they're very well done, good equipment, everything. I think that's the thing, because say you try to describe a gun in 1 minute, you're not going to get nothing out of that. But if someone does this comedy skit, you're laughing your ass off, and
Mhm.
you got the next one, and you're laughing, and you're like, this guy's brilliant. Look at all these brilliant people out there, and that's what I was doing last night. There's a lot of stinkers, but the funny ones make up for it. They're really,
I've seen one yesterday. It's a man and a wife, and she walks up to him and she goes, "I shaved myself today." So you know what that means?
Yeah.
Damn plumbing stopped up again.
I'm trying to find the chick. She's a Chinese woman. She immigrated and went to college and stuff here. I think her name is Yuling Summers, and she does a lot of 1 minute little clips on her stuff, and she's just does she's pretty funny about stuff. Sexy little girl too.
Okay, James, it comes down to what did you get out of that minute? And the comedy ones, the really unique, funny things that you didn't see every day, that is worth its weight in gold, versus 1 minute just showing a side of a gun panning down with some music and it tells you nothing. There's a difference.
Yeah.
Or someone bitching at the phone. They put all their makeup on and the bright lights, and then they say, "Oh, how I'm so disgusted with the orange man."
Well, it's like one of the guys that films a lot of this cowboy action shooting. He doesn't make the full videos like I do. He does the shorts.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that just like anything else, sometimes just showing a minute of somebody shooting or a minute of somebody loading something. It's nice.
Well, I mean, like he was at the big match this past weekend, and they actually allowed him time to hand out awards to some of the guys that he has filmed. Because like one of his shorts has like 370 something million views. So he gave all of them each a pack of primers.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how they pay, how they actually pay on shorts. So
I don't know either.
Yeah, I mean, he might have a lot of views, but he might have got, he might not have got anything. That's like I've been demonetized for literally 6-7 years. Everything I do, I don't. All of it's out of bar.
Yeah, I'm not monetized either. So
yeah, so I mean, I have one video. I think it has like a little over 500,000 views in the last 10 years. It's a truck video, and so I mean, it has a bunch of views, but never got a penny for it.
Yeah,
I'm certain YouTube has made, somebody's watched the commercial before it came on. So,
I'm sure.
What's up with the backgrounds? Well, we were all in the same house.
That's right. I'm sorry, gentlemen.
It's all right. I have one.
We're going to pop the little Irish girl in there for just a moment. And
I have one that's it's on the verge of 100,000 views, and that is how to unstick a revolver when it's locked up,
Right.
loaded. And the easy way to do it right there, super simple. And I'm proud of that one because everyone that replies on there is, thank you so much. I'm glad I found this. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And there's a million replies on that. And that makes me feel good. And I figured if I get deleted again, all that's going to disappear. And it's a shame.
The,
The one that I put out this morning, the lady that made that pouch,
Yeah.
she was tickled to death. She was all over me on Facebook.
And I like the corset. Was that a purse or what?
That was a purse.
Oh, that's awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
and she ended up selling it too, and she sold it to the perfect person too.
That would sell like hotcakes. A corset purse? Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
The lady that bought it, her husband shoots, but she doesn't shoot. But when she comes, she's fully dressed. I mean, she goes all out. I mean, even during the shoots, when it's not just the big banquets, when she comes to the shoot, she is fully decked out, and that fit her perfect.
Yeah, no, some things have it. And when I saw the corset, I'm like, that has it. That could sell like hotcakes. But I'm sure it's like a low production, maybe even a one-off.
She had two of them there.
Two?
Yeah.
Okay.
I imagine that's a lot of hand work there.
Oh yeah, it's just
I wouldn't even master how much she wanted for it.
it's a neat idea though, and it looked really cool. I thought that was cool, so that's how I had to reply to that. Just because I was like, damn, I had to pause it, rewind, pause, look at it. Yeah, that was neat.
Yeah, I tried to throw a couple items that she made into the video.
yeah, I have one. It's a truck video. Has 13,000 views. The Hot She-Mel's Kissing and Riding, that one has 7,000 views. And somebody was bitching about me doing clickbait, so I figured if I'm gonna get yelled at for clickbait, I'm gonna do clickbait. So that's what that one is.
The most I've got is 35,000 views.
Let's see.
Yeah, I don't think about it. I just do what I'm doing that day. So
Yeah.
I don't try and if I wanted to try, I'd stick to one thing and do like mini bikes or whatever, and I'd get a ton of views and all that stuff. But I just figure, this is me out here. This is today type deal. That's how I do videos.
Let's see. Yet another reason to hate truck drivers number. I just put a random number up there. That one has a little over 40,000 views.
That's a clickbait. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's clickbait, but at the same time, it's here's another one that's called Yet Another Reason to Hate Truck Driver, and I think it's like that one has 99,600 views.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, when I see dumb stuff out here, I call it out. Have all the hate truck driver ones I have are like 13, 18. The okay, here's one for 130,000 views. But that damn thing's almost 10 years old now. I have one about the HK9 or my PTR 91 that administrative results. He threw up there and gave me a shout out about it. That one has like 4,000 views. So, which is really cool on his part. So, yeah. So, I mean, I'm definitely not in for the fame and fortune.
My most one is the infrared night vision camera that it mounted on a pellet gun. It's got 35,000. Then my next one is my lead lapping barrel.
Right.
So that's got 19,000. My the UTG Bug Buster scope 19,000.
Yeah, you get a lot more than I do.
Fixing my wife's brakes on her Sorrento has got 11,000.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah. All you got to do is, will it run, and you'll get views.
yeah.
Will it run?
Yeah, and thing is, like going back to the clickbait part, every one of us do clickbait. We want to put something interesting on there so that people will, Now, if you say like my hot shemales kissing, that's definitely, because all I'm doing is talking about target shooting results on Target. But like I said, somebody's bitching about one of my videos having the thumbnail had a bikini girl in it, but I didn't have any bikini girls in the actual video. So they're calling me out and saying, "Oh, you're just clickbait." Okay, you fucking clickbait.
Yeah, it just depends. Some people do videos to get views, make money, and all that.
Yeah.
Where others, I like the smaller channels. They're just, hey, this got here, and I'm doing this. I like that.
I go from one extreme to the other. I watch the science programs. There's some of the political stuff. Yeah, and these are million subscriber channels, all the way down to just some guys who are just putting out rough edited, goofy little videos, certain degrees. This is how I changed my muzzle brake, or this is my competition at the cowboy shoot, or hey, looky here, the weird woman with the funny teeth is running around out back again.
I would like to get the RV channel one up and going to where I can monetize it.
Mhm.
But hell, you got to have 500 subscribers before you can even do that.
Oh, did they drop it back down to 500?
That's what I saw the other day when I was looking around in it to see.
Yeah,
what
it
was
used to be
in there.
1,000. Yeah, wasn't it 1,000 back?
I think so.
At one time, yeah.
Yeah, it said 500. So
And,
Yeah, here's the thing. For me, it's the friends you meet on YouTube. It's not the.
yeah.
And when you go to the big channels, they can't even reply to their people. There's too many people. So it's not a friend thing. It's not like guys sitting around a fireplace having a beer type deal. It's way too much for them. They can't even reply to you.
I mean, like when the biggest, getting to meet Thor's axe, because I was watching him for years, off and on. Then when I finally popped in here and he was on here, that was cool to sit here and bullshit with him and and you guys and
No, I met a lot of you guys just because of YouTube.
Mhm.
I don't travel around, but we got this internet thing, and it's pretty cool. And then when the guys came over, and they all came over, we all knew each other already. It wasn't like standoffish. It was like
you're uncomfortable and getting over that little hump.
there was no awkward moments. We already knew each other and just partied. It was awesome. Every single one of them.
In the past couple of weeks here, posting up these last two big matches that I went to, I jumped up quite a bit in subscribers.
Yeah, a lot of people love watching match stuff, and
Well, say they didn't probably never seen me before, and then I posted up,
Mhm.
the name of the batch and posted it in some couple of Facebook groups, and well, my numbers jumped up pretty good in the last 2 weeks. So
Well,
There you go, Thorzel.
he's still here.
Now that's like, and I mean, it's just I've made comments on like OG Danger Show, and he replied back. I mean, it was right after he posted the videos and stuff. But that's where I got that Jimmius was I stole from one of his hate mail videos, and then you have guys,
Jimmius.
Gun Jimmius is The guy was calling him a genius, but he misspelled it. It was like, that's something I would do. that's where I got that from. And but yeah, so there's, and then my cousin calls me. He's like, you misspelled genius, right? I'm like, yeah, that was the whole idea. Okay, I just want to make sure you did. Yeah, Thor. Especially, I started watching your stuff when you were doing the coffee chats. You and I think Elvis Ammo was doing it, and a couple other people. And,
Well, he hasn't. He can easily do a video right now, and I don't know why he doesn't. But he's just sitting at his desk, talking about this or that, with a little brush in his hand, and what you can do that right now, Thorzax. How long's it been? It's probably been a year or 8 months since he's done. Probably a year. All you got to do is sit at the desk.
I made 3 videos today.
I have a ton of video, and I'm trying to get it all put together. And
I made that one about that bag this morning real quick and put that out. I made one loading the 7BR with the cast bullets. I got those loaded. I'm working on a powder coating video. I'm waiting on some bullets to show up first before I finish it.
what's the old school Remington pistol, the from the 60s that had the plastic fiberglass stock?
The pistol?
Nylon.
XP100?
The XP100. There you go. There's at the range I go to that has the 850 yard range. There's a gun store opening up there, and they had one in the 7mm BR.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, oh man, I've never had one, never shot one. I've never even heard of the caliber until I was looking at it on the tag. I'm certain I've heard of it, but it just never registered. It was like, it'd be kind of neat to have one, but it's just like, I have to run it on the credit card. I don't want to do
6BR, the 7BR, and they had a couple others. Those are the original short cartridges.
Yeah.
Long before the Grendels and stuff.
Oh yeah. The Grendels and the Arcs, they're just repeats of what what's already come before.
Now the Arc, that's the one that blows out the primer pockets, right? You got to
That was the 22 Valkyrie.
Oh, the Valk.
Yeah, notorious for that. Now a cure for that was people were taking one of the Grendel cases and resizing them down to the 22 Valkyrie, but it had the little bit thicker web.
Yeah,
and they weren't having that trouble. But the Valkyrie probably a dead caliber because of that, especially with the Arc now.
Yeah.
And you have the 22 Nosler.
I'm really thinking about getting one of those bolt actions in the 6 arc.
Well, like I said, I have the two of the Unitas. Then Jim has the that's BC. What is that, BCM or?
Yeah, Bear Creek. Bear Creek has like 5 or 6 calibers now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They're cheap.
yeah. They for a complete upper on that. I got it bookmarked already.
$2.99, something like that.
Yeah, $2.99.
Yeah, and sometimes they're even cheaper, like $10. Then you can get a coupon,
18-inch Parkerized heavy barrel.
and I think they ship them free too. I'm not sure. So the parts they don't, but the other stuff I think they ship them free.
Well, when it comes to the 6 arc or the 22 arc, like mine has only the 20-inch barrel. Once that barrel gets shot out, I'm going to go at least a 24-inch because you're paying for the performance. So you might as well get the longest barrel you can to get the very last drop of energy out of it and speed out of it, just for the for what it is. Because I mean, don't want to cut back to just 223 speeds or something like that.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay,
Refill time.
there you go. But yeah, I mean, so far, like with my 22 arc, it's I'm enjoying the heck out of it.
Yeah. I could even get 10% off of that right now if I just sign up for something.
Yeah, sign up for their emails or whatever, and then
Probably.
yeah, they all do that. And sign up for it. Let them send you a couple emails and cancel it
Yeah.
after you get your discount.
Yeah, I figured an 18-inch would be long enough for what I need. They still have a 224 Valkyrie. Like I say, why would anybody want to buy it anymore?
The yeah, especially with the arc, and then I mean the idea behind the Valkyrie was good. It was just hard on cases and the and just a lot of people were having trouble with it. So, and the arc, like it's basically a carbon copy of the 22 Grendel, and you can use the same dies for either one. So, because I bought Rocky Mountain Reloading came out with their own. They were going to do them as 22 Grendels. Then the arc came out, so I don't even know if they had even do anything to change the design. But then they started advertising them as Grend arcs because it worked both, for both cartridges. So.
I guess it's kind of like a 223 Wild then.
Basically, yeah. Okay. I was backstage, however, internet is really slow right now. It just sits there and loads and even more loading. Yeah. Yeah, Hobbies, you're right about that also.
Well, that's been that way forever. I mean,
oh yeah, even
thousands of Wildcats that's been made, never made it through. Back when I started pistol silhouette shooting and stuff, 7mm TCU was huge.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see it nowhere nowadays.
Right.
Hey, that's a Contender cartridge.
Uh-huh.
You can find the barrels on eBay with
Oh, yeah,
dice, with dice often. but eBay's kind of went crazy.
I would think that would be a good to put in an AR.
What kind of velocities can you get? I've heard of it, but I never really looked into it.
I would say more than 300 blackout anyway.
Right.
Sorry
It's
to
a
hear.
cartridge. It's a 223 modified 223.
Okay.
Well, Thorzak, you can give it a try. I'll put a link here. I was upstairs. Oh, yeah. Often you can get the barrel and the dice, with a lot of contender stuff.
Yeah.
The big finds are pawn shop, gun store consignments where a guy's got 5 barrels and dice for contenders, and you don't have to do any paperwork. You just pick the sucker up, and you got a whole collection.
Yep.
And
Well,
You just don't see them around here though.
it used to be really common, kind of like the Dan Wesson revolvers with all the barrels, but now it's not as common, but it still happens. Grandpa, they're selling this stuff, consignment, whatever. You'll even find them on ads, Craigslist, whatever you use, and that's a good way to get a whole collection, especially if they come with the dies.
around here, you might as well just buy new. I mean, you might get a $10 or $15 discount if you buy a used one. But now that store I was telling you about there at the one range, they had it was a Ratty A5 Browning, but whoever was selling, they were selling it with, I think he said there was like either 2 or 3 extra barrels that came with it, but it was just a little bit on the a whole lot on the Ratty side. But it was like under $800 that they were asking for it. So you can still find deals once in a while.
Yeah, James Bullard likes his 6.5 Grendel a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry liked his too. I don't need more dice. I'm stopping with calibers right now. I'll say that.
You're lying to yourself. Don't lie to us.
I have 12. I can't even put all the turrets on the shelf anymore. I think I got 12 turrets full of dice, maybe more, and dice in the things.
Yep.
I don't need any more calibers.
I'm getting ready to do a purge tomorrow, and just find most of the stuff is just going to get boxed up and put away because but I'm so cluttered right now, and I look at it and it drives me nuts. But at the same time, I don't do anything about it.
That's why I'm in that little room in there, man. I'm just packed in there.
Yeah, I mean, literally, I have guns sitting out in the TV room, which I like to just sit there and display them to myself.
Well, I don't have the guns laying out, but my reloading room is just.
Yeah, and then the reloading.
Every time I turn around buying something new nowadays.
Yeah, and that's like.
Yeah, my bench, the reloading part of it, I can rival anybody on a mess right now. It's organized chaos, but it's bad.
I know where everything's at, but it's all on top of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird how we do that? Somebody can go in there and go, Jesus, it looks like a bomb is here. Like, what are you looking for? And they come up with something very odd, and you reach right to it, and there it is.
5 seconds away. James says, build a 20 turret. Hey, I have no wall space. I have pictures and everything on the wall. I have my old rack, so that gives me 6 more. I just got to know where to put it. I can't put it where the rifles are standing up that are out of the safe for the minute. I don't know. I'm out of wall space.
I bought one of them hangers for the quick change plates.
The press, the line. I call
inline.
it inline.
Yeah.
In
It's
line.
like putting that new press up against my shelf up there. It's like wouldn't have to put it on the ground because it's so big.
Mhm.
Well, so that's like I have a Dillon 650 that I want to send back to have it refurbed because it just won't hold time. You know, I don't know what's wrong with it, so it's beyond my capabilities.
Hmm.
And I keep talking about, well, I need to do this. I need to do this. I even have a friggin' box. Yeah, I can ship it in, and just haven't taken the time to tear it off the bench and pack it up and get hold of them.
Yeah, well, nowadays they charge a lot of shipping there and back.
Well,
And I don't think everything's free anymore. So it's not the old Dylan where, hey, people used to just like I can take my old one, you send it into them, they totally refurbish it, send it back, no price.
well, there's always a charge if you send it in for a refurb like that. But I think that
There
was
didn't
just
used- yeah, but what I'm saying is there didn't used to be. I could take my old press and just shove it to them. I pay the shipping there and I get it back free. Everything no.
then
Now they charge for this and that and this and that and shipping and it's. I already talked to them once.
But yeah, like I said, this one needs to go out, so I'm gonna force myself to actually do it. I'm gonna just do it, Ross. And probably just sell, yeah. And I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind trying one of the 750s. So, and then
There's a lot of those guys that I shoot with. They got them 750s.
well, I have two 650s now. The idea was I was going to have one 650 set up to do 9 millimeters, and then maybe occasionally 357 Magnum. And I was going to have the other one, the old one, set up dedicated strictly for 45 ACP and 308. And that was before I even got my 30-06. And then I was going to eventually get one for 223. That way, if I decide to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and pound out a couple hundred rounds, yeah, I can. And don't have to spend 2 hours setting everything up and getting everything just right. And then, but
These guys, some of these guys that shoot at our club and stuff, I mean, they're shooting every weekend somewhere. There was a match over in Orange today. There was a match over in Columbus today.
What do they use? What do they use for presses?
Most of them use a 750.
So
They got to pump out so much ammo.
yeah.
they go automated with feeders and all that.
I don't really know. I haven't been to their house to look at them. They just say they run a 750. So
Yeah, you basically need a feeder for the 650/750 model. It's just such a pain in the ass. You stop every 5 rounds and drop 5 more down the chute. You just Now I would swap my case feeder between one case feeder and then swap it between the different presses. But
the 6-pack that I got now, I load up the case feeder, and then I load up the bullet feeder, and then I run until they run out. Then I take a break.
Yeah.
That's over a couple hundred rounds right there.
my biggest reason for running the progressive presses is trying to come up for the speed so much as just once you know what you want, it's just the efficiency of making every time you pull that handle, you've made a round.
Well,
you just go into that.
I can do the same thing as long as it's running perfectly. There's always little glitches on it, but it runs pretty darn good.
Okay, Kyle's got to go. We'll see you later, Kyle. Take care. We got Torzax here. I'm sorry, didn't see you down below. I had to pan up, type deal. And the echo went away, so we're good. Good night, Kyle.
Night, Kyle.
Good night, Kyle.
Yeah, you sound good. No echo. All right, we're good. I think. Yeah.
I'm hearing something in the background though.
Well, you
Like
had
somebody's
little
watching
echo.
a video.
Well, you had echo at first.
Well,
Now it stopped.
I don't hear nothing.
Yeah, we're good now.
okay.
How's it going, Thors?
It's going pretty good, dude. Yeah. So kind of a busy week, I guess. Got a lot of things done. Went out and worked with my chainsaw a little bit, mowed my lawn, and man, I'll tell you what, I've got this rhododendron out in front of my house. It's right in front of the front porch. And that thing's a monster. I mean, it's huge, and it was reaching all the way over to the rail of the front porch. And I went out and got my Husqvarna, and I was like, "Me and you're gonna have a talk." Oh, yeah. And I cut that thing up, man, and I got it all in the compost bin and all that stuff. And so, yeah, it was quite the butchering. But you got to do that to them, I don't know why this rhododendron really likes that spot, man. I mean, the trunk on that thing must be that big around. It's huge.
Yeah, sometimes you got to go medieval on them, and then 3 years later, it's gigantic again.
I got visited from a friend of mine, and I talked to him a little bit about chainsaws, and we talked back and forth. He lives out in Seebeck, which is just west of Silverdale a little bit, and it's all logging country up there. And back in the day, that was a place where a lot of people bought some land because you can get it really cheap out there. You can get 5 acres pretty cheap. And anyway, his dad had bought some land, and he ended up buying a place out there, and then his brother ended up buying a place out there. And the thing is, though, is that where he has his house, he hired a guy to come in there and go ahead and limb the trees up, top them, and get them on the ground. So he's had these monster firs sitting on the ground, and he just doesn't have a saw big enough to really cut through it. And I just turned around and told him, I said, I've been watching these YouTube videos, and there's this there's a company out there called what is it? Neotech. Okay. And the thing was that I was just kind of looking, on the internet, just for something to do. And I ran into that. I told him, I said, I'd look at that, because I think they make a copy of the 038, pretty reasonably priced. Well, he bought one. And I mean, this thing is like, it's an exact copy right down to the thousandths of an 038. Anyway, so I went out to his place, and we went and mixed up some fuel and everything and adjusted the carburetor and got it in there. And I was just telling him, hey, man, when you start this thing up, you want to run it at about 35 to 1. You want to go a little rich on the oil until you break it in. And so we got it all started up and stuff. I was impressed what you got, out of this copy, because it reminded, I mean, it was, I really didn't.
A copy of the 38 Magnum like I have?
Yeah. Well, it's not a Magnum. It's an 038. It's not the 038 Magnum. You've got an 038 Magnum. The 038, I think, came out before the 038 Magnum, and they made the Magnum out of the 038.
And so, who's making this copy then?
Believe it or not, it's China.
Well, yeah, of course.
China's putting these saws together, and they're bringing them into the States, and they're selling them for like $300, brand new.
Yeah, and their clone engines on the Honda Polestars are pretty damn good, so I can imagine.
Yeah, I gotta admit, there's a lot of those Predator engines out there that they made. the China copy, man. And guys
Mhm.
say they haven't pulled the rope on them in 3 years. Go out there, pull them twice, and they start right up.
I watched I watched a Chinese factory doing chainsaw engines, and each one has a job, and then they hand it off to the next person, and then they throw all the cylinders in a pile. There's actually videos out there, and yeah, I can imagine if they can copy a Honda clone, they can copy a good chainsaw engine.
Well, get this. They also make a copy of the Still 066. That's like 7 horsepower. And you can buy this monster for like $300, $350. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, these are big saws. These are, I mean, this is in the power category of lumberjack stuff. And I look at it this way. I told Ross, I said, look, if you clear your property and, you're able to use the saw and get performance out of it and all that, and it does what you want it to do, I mean, who cares what the brand name is? It's almost like, the Harbor Freight, 5-speed drill press that I bought like 40 years ago. I mean, I paid less than $30 for it. It was on sale, and I got $10 off. And I tucked a box underneath my arm, went up there and paid for it. It's sitting on my garage today, and that thing has bailed me out time and time and time and time again. And I don't care if it's a Harbor. I don't care if it's a Central Machinery. I don't care. It does what I want it to do, and that's it.
Right now, you got to beat the tariffs. So there you go.
Well,
But they're already coming to agreement, and I think there's a lot of countries right now. I think it's all threatening, and it's going to even out. But yeah, right now I look and see what if tariff prices hit, like you're buying a scope or whatever, a tool, and if you're going Chinese. I'm curious. I haven't seen anything really. It's like everyone's holding off, or they got inventory. But yeah, so I don't think the tariff thing is going to last anywhere. It was all just to make people come to the table. And China.
Well, Trump's good at that. Trump is good at that. He makes people uncomfortable, and sometimes you have to create friction in order to get traction.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? You got to throw some sand under those tires, otherwise they won't grip. They'll just spin and spin and spin.
Well, what gets me is the liberal press acts like this is new, but they were doing it to us the whole time. They had tariffs on us. Canada, UK, all the countries, Japan, they all had tariffs on us, and this is a new thing that we're doing it. Well, no, we just want even Steven, okay?
Yep.
I hate to say this, but the trickle down thing on that is that a lot of these senators and people that we have in Congress and stuff, they have their money invested in these companies overseas in China, and they don't want those tariffs.
Yeah,
See, those are the people that don't want the tariffs. The Chinese don't care.
Yes,
like, oh, we'll just up our prices and we don't care. But it's these people that own interest in those countries, and they make money off those. And they say, well, if we have tariffs, well, I won't make as much money. We'll have to lower the prices. It's going to have to come from somewhere.
The Chinese can double their prices and still be cheaper than,
Where are you going to get a 5.5 horsepower chainsaw for less than $300 with a 24-hour that cuts with 3/8 chain? You're just not. And you know what? If you use it for like 2-3 years, clearing your property, and one day you go out and pull the rope and it blows up, so what? Throw it in the garbage can. You know what I mean?
You got now, it does the same thing anyway.
Well,
And so I'm really, when it comes to certain things, I really don't let the brand name kind of get in there. You know what I'm saying? And it's the same thing with firearms. I mean, there are companies out there that put out a firearm. Look what the Filipinos did. They copied the 1911, and they started producing the 1911. It took them a while to get the metallurgy right and stuff like that, and their production thing down. But now you can buy a 1911 that is better quality than, say, the Colts they made during the 80s.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
running a Rock River or
Yeah, I agree.
Rock Island Armory 45
Yeah.
right now.
I
It's a
got
good
a
point,
rock.
isn't it?
I got a Rock River 10 millimeter, and I'll agree. I've seen more Milmox on 80s Colts. So
Yeah, well, not a Rock River, a Rock Island.
Or
Rock
Rock
River,
Island.
old-
Yeah.
Rock Island,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rock
Rock
River.
Island.
Friggin' Rock River 45s, you might as well just go out and buy a new car.
Yeah, I've got one. I've got a Rock River bullseye gun.
Yeah, I've never shot a Rock River pistol. They were known for their ARs, but yeah, never.
I
I'm
also
sorry.
have one of those.
I got them mixed up, and a friend of mine used to call them river rocks. He used to make fun of me. You mean River Rock? This is when Rock River first came out, and I bought a little carbine, and he's like, "Oh, you're playing with your River Rock?" Anyway,
You know, I'm going to tell you something. Six brought up a very, very good point that they could raise prices twice and still be cheaper than everybody else. I mean, I went into, what was it? I went actually. Where was that? I think it was Harbor Freight, and I wanted to get a heater for my bathroom. You know, because I don't like stepping out of the shower and having it cold. And I don't want to turn the heat up in the whole house just to have it warm in the bathroom when I get out. But so I bought this heater, and I put it in the bathroom, and I think I paid $11 for it at Harbor Freight. And I thought, how can you make the Element? How can you have somebody assemble it? How can you have somebody, form all the steel? How can you have, everybody, put it together and then package it? And how can you send it to the United States for $11? And they still make money off of it.
yeah.
Well,
You could not make that in the United States.
Well,
for
it's
that.
slavery.
part of it is
Yeah,
volume.
it's slave labor.
Part of it is slave labor. And see, here's the problem with the Chinese. They can build nuclear weapons and they can put spacecraft on the moon. And they can build the junkiest of junk. It's just a matter of what you, as the customer, i.e., Harbor Freight, Walmart, whoever, you say, I want this item at this price point. They'll say, we'll do that for you. So if you want to spend the money on it, they'll give you first class, top tier.
Oh yeah, you can order stuff from them and say, okay, my tolerances are this, not this, and it's going to cost you more, but you're going to get what you want.
I have several Chinese scopes of varying
There you
prices.
go.
And the junk ones are junk, but the good ones are actually pretty good.
Ask Jim. Ask him about the 1980s and 1970s with Tasco. The old Tascos that were made in Japan. I mean, there were sportsmen. There were all these sportsmen out there saying, they're junk. You don't buy them, whatever like that. And nowadays, they're collector's items. People say, man, these have real glass in them. Japanese ground glass that are coated, and they're very nicely made. And they're Tascos. We sneered at them back then.
Well, when we were kids, Japan was China. So it was the same thing. We considered everything cheap. And then came transistor radios and good scopes and everything. And Japan was better than China because they were more OCD. They're more picky. And their quality control is better. So I can't really compare them to today's China back then, because the Japanese actually made really good stuff, even the 240Z, all that stuff,
Well, it's my understanding there's actually only two companies in Japan that makes rifle scopes. So unless it's some kind of super duper specialty scope, it's going to come out one of two manufacturing houses. The SWFAs, the Tractorics, the Night Forces, the U.S. Optics, their Japanese line, which is a mid-tier line. They're all coming out of one of two shops, and those Japanese, they have a higher standard for their lowest standard, but but it's still a lot higher than what a lot of your Chinese stuff is.
Yeah.
But
Well, I would,
those
okay.
patches were made in the same plant that like the SWFAs are now. And we all know the SWFA 10 power, you can friggin' drive nails with it and, hit targets out to 1,000 yards, easily using their 10 and 12 power fixed scopes.
Yeah, so back in the 60s and early 70s, Japan was considered like China is today, but I will emphasize they were more geared for quality, and they've always been that way with samurai swords, everything. They've always been OCD, so their quality is better than Japan. Japan can be all over, or China can be all over the place.
Yeah.
Quality control.
Well, I think the Japanese also believe in national pride. If you're making it, for export, it actually saying something about Japan. You know what I mean? It's like Germany.
Right.
Things made in Germany is actually, they have good products, but the Herman the German and Helga over there, they're kind of like it's national pride because we're Germans and we build good stuff. And one thing about China, what people don't seem to understand about China, after the 1860s, after the Civil War, there was a big gain in the United States, and what it was is the Industrial Revolution, and we had the connection of the railroads, and the J.P. Morgans and all these guys. They put a bunch of money into industrial manufacturing. We had a workforce here, and we had the resources that we could get for cheap. We had the labor we could get for cheap. And we started manufacturing, and we actually were China at one time.
Yeah.
Now, people don't seem to understand that. We were a world competitor. Our guns, our ammunition, our products, look at the amount of wood, force that we had back then. Look at the amount of accessibility, coal and coke. For ironworks and things like that. We were a giant, and we could decimate what anybody else had going on because of their economies. So we rose to power that way, and China's doing the same thing. They have access.
If
They
we
have
go,
access to a lot of recycled goods, steel, stuff like that. They get it dirt cheap from other countries that, all these ships and stuff that they beach them, over there in India. They tear them all apart. They send all that, steel and everything to China. China processes it. We also export steel to China. It's, yeah. So they're doing the same thing that we did, up until, the crash, of the 1930s.
Hey Asia, how you doing? Asia is here. Okay, now if the tariff thing was like totally tariff and we're all doing our own manufacturing, we're going to go back to the 50s and everything costs more. Everything, you buy a saw, whatever. However, you can rebuild it and use that sucker forever, but you're paying more. That's how it was in the 50s. Items cost more, and you saved up and you bought an item, and that's how it was in the 50s. But
yeah, exactly.
It was pretty good stuff. However, I'm for free trade. Just make it even. If you want to buy cheaper stuff, great, but make it even. No tariffs on us. Make it even, and we're good.
Whether it's America, Japan, Germany, or whatever, you always have your tiers of products. There's somebody out there, whether it's in America or China or wherever, that's going to make a shit product, and sell it for a cheap price, or sometimes they'll sell it for a really high price, but it's still garbage. GM, and then so there's you always have to also be aware of that. but Hobby's Hobo was talking about the Winchesters and Brownings made by the Japanese, and I think those come out of Howa. And I love my two Howa rifles I bought last year, the 308 and the 223. The 308 is really good. The 223, yeah, it's okay, but it's still far superior to all these shit sticks you find at, these ones that you find.
Them Winchesters made by Maruko they're good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maruko is awesome, and again, it goes back to OCD. Good bluing, good fit, good fact, good workmanship.
But also another thing too, that back in the day, going to the gun show, you could find Brownings and Winchesters, and guys would just turn them over on their side. On the barrel, if it said "Made in Japan," they wouldn't buy it.
I know.
They wouldn't buy it. It had to say "Made in Belgium" or "Made in the United States" or whatever.
Yeah.
They just wouldn't buy it. The American sportsman just wouldn't buy it.
And so you could actually pick up some really nice deals.
Some of that's still going back to World War II, though. They just didn't want nothing to do with Japan.
Right. Anything Asian. And look at the Vietnam War was the same thing.
Yeah.
But they make
anyway, Six, he brought up a really good subject. We have to remember that, when it comes to these tariffs and things, and then say like prices go up, more than likely it's not the Chinese is doing it to us. It's some asshole who lives out there in frickin' Mercer Island. He's an investor. He's the guy who's boosting up the prices. He's the guy that is getting in there saying, hey, I'm not going to give up my riches just because some tariff. You know what I mean? Those are the guys that are going to do it to us. Our own, neighboring people around here that have the wealth and they have the power and they have the investments in those in those companies overseas. Those are the people that might raise the prices because they want to make a certain amount of money. They have a line, and that's it.
And that's understandable. I mean, most of these consumer products we're talking about, if I as a manufacturer can manufacture, and here's the main thing is how much quality. If I'm going to spend $500 on a wash machine or a refrigerator, am I getting a really good one, or is it, a bag of dog do? And I want to see Americans make the money and stuff. What frustrates me about a lot of these products, you look at refrigerators now, they cost almost $2,000 and they have internet. I don't need a refrigerator with internet in it. I need a refrigerator that keeps my beer cold and keeps the ice frozen. And when I open it up, the light comes on. Those are the only three requirements I have. But I mean, if somebody can make and sell that, and somebody's willing to pay $2,000 even for a relatively generic one, I cannot badmouth the manufacturer for taking that. Or doing that. But at the same time, if I spend whether it's $5 or $5,000 on something, I expect it to last, almost forever. That's my little rant about.
Yeah, and to be honest, like cars and everything built in America, they're sloughing. They're not doing the best job they can. And if they get too comfy because everything's tariffed out and it's all built here and we have no choice, we are screwed. So luckily, there's some Japanese companies manufacturing here, and they're coming over and making cars, so you have a choice. But if you put it in a box where, hey, we can get away with making junk, because now we can't
corner the market. Yeah, we cornered the market, and this is the only place that you can buy it.
We don't want that either. We don't want the big three getting all comfy because they're going to make junk. And we want them on their toes. And so we want just fair trade. Let people choose. Let people choose. And let the competition begin. Whoever has the best quality, that's what you're going to buy, as far as vehicles.
Well, no, I'll tell you one thing. I'll go to Walmart for certain things. But you know what? Yeah, people, there are people out there that they go to Walmart for everything. I'm going to tell you what, I don't want Walmart to just be the only place to go after a while. You know what I'm saying?
What surprised me though, there's a lot of American-made stuff in Walmart. All you got to do is look at the tag. There's a ton of American-made stuff, and it's cheap. And you're like, how do they do that? How do they compete?
The stuff that Walmart sells doesn't bother me. It's the way they manage stuff. That's what bothers me.
Well, Jim, I'm thinking about buying one of those Neotech saws. After what I seen Ross got, I was impressed.
Uh,
I really was. I was impressed. That was impressive.
It
Seen
can't
him
be.
over there at the place, and he started it up, and we kind of tweaked it and everything, got the carburetor adjusted, and that first time he put it into the wood, and it was spitting chips, man. I was like, God, that's just like the old one I used to have.
I tell you what, it can't be any worse than a Stihl. Every friggin' Stihl chainsaw I have had just been issue after issue. I bought a Husqvarna last year, and so far it's I love the damn thing.
When I moved
Well,
out here,
Still's made here in the States now. That's made in West Virginia, and they're a progressive company, and still they started putting these e-carburetor and electronic fuel injection in their chainsaws, and the professional people don't like them anymore. It's like, I can't adjust the carburetor. If I have a problem, it's a little computer chip or something that's making it goofy, whatever. I don't want that. And so guess what? Here's Husqvarna saying, have you tried our saws? And Husqvarna's taken over the market because of this technology thing that they're embracing over at Stihl. But Stihl used to be a top saw. I mean, you can get a better saw than the Stihl, like what Jim has.
we moved out here 20-something years ago.
That's a very nice saw.
And I bought a Poulan Pro, and I literally wore it out over 20 years. And then that's a few years ago, I bought a Stihl, and hell, I've already had to buy another carburetor go on it because it wouldn't run.
When we moved here, we bought a brand new Stihl chainsaw, and I fought with it for 2 years. Finally, I took it back to the hardware store, and I said, "What's the deal here?" And it was a carburetor issue. And then they're well, here, just take this one. We'll do a trade with one that it was a used one, but by that time mine was also used. Because once I was able to get it to run, it ran fine, but it was getting the damn thing to run.
It depends on your era.
Was to get me another Stihl carburetor was going to cost like $100.
Damn.
On Amazon, got the carburetor, the ignition coil. It was a kit,
right,
for like $20.
Well, and then that one that they traded, that one blew up on me. So I went out and bought a Husqvarna. And even one of the girls who worked at the hardware store that sold the Stihl, and they were a Stihl dealer with their own Stihl mechanics in the back. She's like, buy a Husqvarna. That's what me and my husband run. I love you, baby. I'll see you in a little bit. And like I said, I've been in love with that Husqvarna so far. So it hasn't bothered me.
Yeah, well, okay. As far as Stihl goes, they were the standard. It depends on the era when you're buying them, okay?
Yeah.
And they were
Agreed.
the standard, but then they started streamlining like revolvers, like Smith & Wesson, whatever. Not to bash on them, but so the older Stihls were the standard. That's what the lumberjacks use. The Huskies are great. We have both. We have a Poland also. We have a smaller one. And my God, it starts
You got a
up.
monster Husky sitting out there. You've got an absolute monster.
Yeah. So we
unleash the beast, man. You reach up there and grab that Husky you got, man. That is a big saw.
Yeah, we have all the brands, but like everything, they get cheaper. They cut corners as the years. The newer it gets, the worse it gets. And they should stop doing that. Quit being comfy. Be the best. Try and be the best.
Mm-hmm.
So
James Pollard talks about his 40
Hey,
volt.
back in the 80s,
40 volt.
The only problem I have about with an electric chainsaw is just you either have to have a bunch of batteries. But yeah, as far as using
Well,
one, I have
Yeah,
small
yeah. We have a Milwaukee and it's awesome. It's a small guy, but yeah, there's nothing like slapping a
Small
battery.
jobs, there's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah, it's nothing like slapping a battery in that goes to your power tools.
But
And
when you
go
got to cut an oak this big around,
Go out and cut some limbs with it. That's one of our favorites. It's a
Yeah,
little.
for pruning and stuff. You know, I got this. Susie bought me this little $30 Amazon battery operated chainsaw that's about this big.
Mhm.
Yeah, handheld, and go out there and prune all the small stuff. You know, then use the chainsaw for the big stuff. And
Yeah,
now
William. There's like the Tecumseh engines and stuff. You have that winter versus summer, and you flip the piece of plastic. Yeah. But also, we have terrible gas nowadays. And if you leave gas in your chainsaws, even if it's got an oil mix, you should get it out of there if you're going to let it sit all year. And a lot of people do that. And then they say, oh, shit, it's the carburetor. No, it's you left the gas in it.
whenever it comes to any of my power tools, first thing I hit it with right at the gas station is the stable.
Yeah.
I hit stable and I try to use non, and then it gets the oil afterwards.
Buy the good gas if you can find it at the gas stations without the ethanol and shit in there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my son just did that today. He fired up all his power tools and the Husky. Hey Thorsex, he fired up the Husky yesterday. Yeah, new gas.
The matter of fact, all the gas I have, it's all just going to go into the rider because most of it's like a year old now, and yeah, so the rider will blow a little bit of smoke, but yeah.
If it gets bad, we burn it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Burn it.
And I don't know if it's bad. It's just been sitting for about, there's one can that I know has been sitting for a year and a half. Even though I put the stable in it, I put the oil to it, I just don't want to take the chance.
Mm.
You didn't like your next door neighbor very much, did you?
Hey, it depends on the era of your still.
Yep.
They were the standard, and we have all the brands over here. So even a Poland.
My Poulan, it'll still run. It just needs some TLC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I just didn't have time for it, and I had a tree to cut down that fell down. And, well, I'm gonna go get me a steel. Well, it runs fine and everything, but like I said, when I went to a part broke on it, I don't think it was the carburetor. I think it was actually the coil.
Mm.
And you say I went online on Amazon, got a whole kit of all kinds of crap on it for like $20 and put it on there, fire right up.
Pat, West Covina Dodge is here. How you doing, Pat? I was going to label this super long chat to do reverse
Psychology.
Yes. Doesn't work either way.
I'm getting tired myself. I'm supposed to get off.
Yeah, I'm not going to be much past midnight. Know that for sure because I've been up since 1 o'clock this morning. So, and, Susie just went to bed, and I'm going to go crawling next to her and put her butt up against my lower back and use her as a human heating pad.
There you go. That's Eskimo style. Yes.
It's Charlie and Susie style also. I'll have to fight the dogs though, because they try to push me out of bed.
Yeah, I think I wake up a lot at night once I finally get to sleep, but I know I'm getting my REMs or whatever you call it, REMs, because I wake up to the same dreams. And I have some weird dreams, people. One of them's a masked serial killer. It's already, trying to get into our apartment, I guess. And I'm trying to hold him off from my wife. And then when I go to fight him, I go limp. I can't even move my hands. And I'm like, come on, use your brain. I'm trying to use my mental brain to fight him off. And I'm like totally limp and I can't fight the guy. But somehow I get him under control. It's crazy, crazy stuff.
Mm.
And it happens over and over. This mass murder, I forget what they call them, every time. And then I go limp. I can't fight. I'm trying to save my wife, You know how the dreams are. You can't run fast enough or whatever. So I guess it's healthy dreams because from what I know, those are the dreams you're supposed to have, where you can't do nothing and you're struggling and, and then you wake up. What the hell was that?
Purging all the bad stuff out of your system.
Yeah. So I guess as far as psychiatrists go, they'd say I'm normal. But I have that guy every night. I got to fight this guy. And then I can't do anything about it because it's like your hands are asleep and your arms are asleep.
Now, how do you know that we're not the dream and you're actually fighting the guy and you're laying on the ground right now, kind of in a daze?
No, that's only one of them. Do you want to hear a funny one? It's gun related. I have these same guys in the dream. They're my friends and everything. And one guy is epoxying his front sight at the end of the barrel. So he has this jag up here in the hole and everything. And he's just about got it just right. And I come over and, hey, let me check that out. And I go like this and I screw it all up. And the patch comes out and the epoxy's in the barrel. There you go. There's another one. And I have it over and over. I screw up this guy's, he's trying to epoxy his gun thing. Oh, geez. I think they're healthy dreams, so I'm not that bad. I'm just a screw up monkey in my dreams. Anyone else? Is it just me?
I have weird dreams, but most of the time I don't remember the majority of them.
Yeah. So
everybody has weird dreams.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think I would be psychologist approved because you're supposed to have that drama when you're sleeping. Even the cats are like fighting stuff in their sleep. So I think I'm okay. I don't know.
Excuse me.
Maybe not. Tornado looking out the kitchen window. We should have a dream chat night. Try and remember your dreams, people. Get a recorder. Get your phone out and say, I just had this dream. That's what happened. Because after like 3 minutes, or you don't remember what you just.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll never forget what was I just thinking about?
Yeah. Anyway, the epoxy one was pretty funny because that was gun related. Trying to reset a front sight on a rifle, an old like Mauser or something. It was weird. And I screw it all up right in front of everyone. So everyone's like, what the hell are you doing to the guys? Yeah. And then I felt so guilty and then I woke up.
All right, I'm going to get out of here, guys.
All right. We should all go. We did
Yeah.
almost 3.5. Yeah.
I'm going to go snuggle up to Susie. You guys have a good Easter.
All right.
You too.
Hey, thanks for coming on, guys. I appreciate
All right.
it. It was fun.
No problem.
Good night.
Night.
All right. Good night, Six. And everyone in the side chat, love y'all. And we'll see you next time. And let's do the afoof. Well, it's just me. So And Thorzak's going to come back and say, what the hell happened? All right. And 1, 2, 3. Ahoo!